15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Here is Luka. Luka dribbling left. Luka down the middle. Got there. Lay it up and in.
All right. Luka Dončić last night. Bit of a revenge game. Lakers come out victorious, and Luka has his first triple-double, Perloff, of his Lakers career. Not that big in the points, considering it is Luka Dončić. Just 19 points, but 12 assists, 15 rebounds. And it was really LeBron James that kind of closed the game out for the Lakers, but this was the Luka show last night.
Yeah.
And we got the full Luka. We got technical fouls. We got complaining. We got him and LeBron doing this kind of Lob City thing, which was pretty cool. It was all on display.
Yeah, definitely. But I think the key thing to look at for the Lakers, and not in this game, the total score, 107-99. I know the Mavs are kind of shorthanded right now.
Yeah, kind of.
But the Lakers, all of a sudden, this defensive demon, after they traded their best defensive player, Anthony Davis, who the team that got him said, you need defense to win.
Yeah.
So we traded Luka to L.A. We got Anthony Davis to fix our defense in Dallas. And now L.A. is, I heard Brian Windhorst say this, they're the best defensive team in the league over the last 20 games. I just double-checked that on StatMuse. They're the number one defense in the league, which is...
Well, that's even before Luka got
Yeah,
there.
it's even
So they
before
were
Luka
turning
got
it
there.
up before, obviously.
Yeah, and now they're still just as good because they have LeBron and Luka, so they get plenty of offense, so they can stick in all these Jared Vanderbilt guys and Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yeah.
So they can go with a lot of defense. So I think it's amazing. Like everything the Mavs did, you saw last night. They said we need defense to win, and the Lakers ironically got the defense, and the Mavs got nothing. Once again, reinforcing this was the worst trade ever, and the Lakers all of a sudden are a really, really serious team.
Okay, so let's stop on the seriousness of what we have to look at in terms of the Lakers and their expectations now for this season. Because if I gave you this question, and I know we're on all over California, northern, southern, everywhere in between, Lakers weren't the only team that made a major impact trade that looks like it's paying major dividends. Now, nobody's going to blame the Miami Heat for getting rid of Jimmy Butler because that situation just devolved into a puddle. But if I was asking you, who do you trust more to make a run to an NBA Finals this season, would it be the Lakers or would it be the Golden State Warriors?
I would take the Lakers out of those two. For one, I don't care for the regular season in the NBA. But the Lakers just have such a better record. I think the Warriors are going to have a tough road.
Yeah.
NBA West, it's all matchups, right? Look at last year. Denver ran into the wrong team in Minnesota.
Yep.
Denver probably would have gotten the finals if they did not see Minnesota. Then Dallas got the right team in Minnesota. So I think the Lakers, if they can avoid the Nuggets in the playoffs, can get out of the West. They could beat the Thunder. I'm positive about that. So I think the Lakers have a great path out of the West. Now, winning the East against the East, let's not even talk about that. Let's talk about which team get the NBA finals. I think the Lakers, if they get the right road, are in a really good position with Luka. And meanwhile, the Warriors, if they get the wrong matchup, are in big trouble. And they're probably going to be in the play-in. Maybe not. I mean, right now they're 31-27. They sit at the 8th seed. So they're going to have a tougher road. I think the Lakers, matchup-wise, can get through this West, especially because they're playing such great defense right now.
Okay, Lakers have a little bit of, I would say, a head start over the Warriors, just simply because, they're in the 4th seed right now. They'd play the 4-5 game against Houston. Maybe it's a little bit more favorable where Golden State is the 8th seed and has to do the play-in and all of that stuff. But can I give you the Warriors as the team I trust more? And here's why I'd say trust. You're talking about how the Lakers have been a good defensive team ever since over the last 20 games. Well, how about the Warriors as a great defensive team? And I think they're just scratching the surface. The Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Brandon Pajemski, this three-person defensive unit that Steve Kerr has found and unlocked very quickly after getting Jimmy Butler has made the Warriors the 6th best defensive team in terms of rating. They're also the 6th best offensive team in terms of rating. Jimmy Butler, who I got really sick of at the end of that Miami stuff, and I said, I don't care where you go. I'm so done with this and the drama. But you know what? When it's about the basketball, Jimmy Butler delivers. And it's not just about the swagger, and you're seeing Steph Curry doing night-night and all that stuff, like night-night, like way earlier than we ever used to see him do it. There's a thing where Jimmy Butler allows Steph Curry to rest on the bench for significant minutes, and the Warriors don't fall into a hole when he's on the bench. For so long with the Warriors, it was, oh my goodness, what do we do when Steph Curry takes a sip of water and has to go to the bench, and all of a sudden now we're down 10, and he has to come back in and get us out of this hole? Jimmy Butler steadies the ship and, in fact, pushes out leads while Steph Curry is on the bench. It's been a phenomenal marriage. I trust the Warriors to get to the finals more than the Lakers.
Yeah, but what about the size thing? I know, I just feel
watched the Warriors win with those death lineups for years.
Yeah, I hear you. I just feel like the team like Oklahoma City with all their wing defenders is going to be a great matchup with Golden State. I feel like Denver has really given Golden State problems too. I just feel like the Warriors the same problems we've had the last couple of years, where defensively they don't match up well in the Western Conference playoffs. So
yeah, but add Jimmy Butler to the mix, and now we're not talking about the same team.
Yeah, I just feel like the Lakers have a few with LeBron and Luka, especially the way Luka played in last year's playoffs. And Luka, I am a Luka critic for many reasons.
Yeah.
Luka's pretty darn good in the postseason. I will give you that. So I just feel the LeBron, Luka, with all those wing defenders they have, are just a little bit better defensively. And they I just pointed the number. They're the number one team over the last 20 games in the entire NBA. I just think they have a better chance of knocking off, say, an Oklahoma City, who is gigantic on the wing. I mean, Oklahoma City is just massive all over.
Yeah.
I feel like, can you imagine like Golden State trying to cover all those guys? Because you got to hide Curry. You do put Butler on there. But there's a lot of issues I think Golden State faces matchup-wise in the Western Conference playoffs.
Yeah, but I feel like I watched Golden State play against bigger wings when they were in their prime and going. I know it was different, a little bit different time, and everyone was a lot younger back then, but they were able to figure out a way to do it then. I'm not sure why they wouldn't now. And if we're talking about the question, who do you trust more to get to a finals this season, Golden State after their trade for Jimmy Butler, or the Lakers after the trade for Luka? I'm also got to say, I got Steve Kerr, who will probably go down as one of the great coaches in the history of the NBA, versus rookie J.J. Redick, who Redick has been phenomenal. He obviously looks like he can coach. We thought it was a joke, the whole Dan Hurley thing and how that got all messy with the Lakers. But clearly J.J. Redick can coach. And LeBron's kind of like a coach on the court.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But
Luka's also kind of like a coach on the court.
Well,
you have a lot of coaches on the court there.
But there was too many cooks in the kitchen. But here's the thing, like, do I trust the continuity of what I've seen from the Warriors? If we're asking, who do I trust to get to a finals? I trust the core of Curry, Kerr, Draymond Green, and now Jimmy Butler. I watched Jimmy Butler take way worse teams and drag them to finals. Now look at all the help he has.
Yeah, I just think you don't really need a coach because you have LeBron. LeBron's older than Kerr. I mean, he's older than JJ, right? I don't
know if he's older than JJ.
Yeah, I think either they're like the exact same class.
JJ Redick's over 40, isn't he?
I think they're the same high school class. So I double check. Anyway, LeBron.
He's 40. They're both 40.
It's kind of irrelevant who your coach is if you have LeBron and Luka. I mean, that's. I guess JJ Redick's going to get a lot of credit here. But I think they can make up for that coaching deficiency. I totally know what you mean. Like, I'm a huge Kerr fan, and obviously I love the way the Warriors move the ball. I just think matchup-wise, like, look at their road right now. If the season ended, they'd have to get out of the play-in. Then they'd see probably Oklahoma City in the first round. Which, by the way, they have an easy schedule coming up. They could get back into, like, the 6th seed. I think that's important for a team like that because it's all matchups in the West. I just think in a 7-game series, Oklahoma City would be really hard for Golden State. And listen, everybody, I think the Nuggets would be really hard for the Lakers, but I specifically think the Thunder would be a huge challenge for the Warriors.
855-212-4227. We're asking you, who do you trust to get to a finals now that we are post-trade and we're seeing how good these teams are? Is it the Lakers or is it the Golden State Warriors? You can let us know. Say good morning to our Infinity Sports Network affiliates nationwide. You can watch the show, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet. I'm back in the studio today. I'm so glad I'm back with you guys. Manny is doing some kind of impersonation of like that I Love Lucy episode where the conveyor belt is going and, her and Ethel have to like take out all the chocolates or whatever. Manny's running around with his head cut off, trying to get everything done behind the scenes. And meanwhile, there were some really amazing moments from last night, I thought, Pearl. If we're just talking about the Lakers, the Warriors wanted a blowout. But Manny, the reason I brought that up is I'm going to ask you to do one more thing. You're doing 100 things. Can you
How about a guy who can fill 2 different holes?
How about a poll question? Who do you trust more to get to the finals, the Warriors or the Lakers? Did you feel like you were watching Revenge, a dish served cold last night with Luka and the Lakers and the Mavs, or not really?
Not really. Honestly, I watched most of the first half. It kind of just became a game, right? Especially because the Mavs are they're dead. I mean, listen. They
came back and tied the game. They couldn't take the lead.
But they're just a bad team. Like, I can't believe how quickly this. Have you ever seen a trade in play? Like, Deshaun Watson, terrible deal. Took a long time to figure that out. You go through some of the bad NBA trades. You mentioned the Brooklyn Nets trade yesterday when they gave all their assets to the Celtics.
Yeah,
bad trade. It took a little time to figure out.
Yeah.
I've never seen, like, I was watching the Mavs. I'm like, oh my God. First of all, PJ Washington looks terrible. Like, what is going on here? They are not a talented team. Like, I know.
They're hurt. They got nobody in their front court. It's not just Anthony Davis. Everybody's hurt.
I know. That's the team I saw. They just it was very disappointing. Immediately, I said, like, wow, they're dead already. To get like that Simpsons joke where Homer kills the Hamburglar, he's already dead. Like, do you see, like, that's why I couldn't, like, get into the revenge thing because the Mavs are so lame.
I guess, but it doesn't mean that Nico Harrison, the guy who executed the trade for the Mavs, was there last night, showed up courtside. Mark Cuban with like a weird look on his face, kind of a wry smile after Luka hit a 3 that ended up getting turned into a 2, kind of just saying like, I can't believe this is happening. I think if you could give him some truth serum, like, I still can't believe we traded him away and did it to the Lakers, gave him to the Lakers and did it for a guy who got hurt, immediately upon arriving. It just is, it's beyond. They will never live this down, the Mavericks.
I mean, also, too, how excited is Luka as a player? I mean, he didn't have to do like Jimmy Butler did and get unhappy to get out of a failing team. He just got to go to the Lakers, and now he looks tan. He looks happy, a little thinner. Like, it's incredible how it worked out so well for L.A. and for Luka, and how badly. Although, unless like the Mavs are thinking process, like they're going to just start all over again and get.
That's not what they said.
Yeah, no, I know, but the fact that Anthony Davis got hurt immediately, they might not have a choice, right? Like, they might just go really bad. I think they're probably going to fall out of the playoff picture. It's incredible to me. Again, can you ever think of any storyline that evolved, like, started and then ended so quickly? Like, this trade's done. Like, there's no grades anymore. Like, Mavs are an F, and they will never not be an F. And the Lakers are an A+, and they will never not be an A+, right?
The only thing is if somehow the Mavs get really healthy in a hurry and then still figure out how to work Anthony Davis into this lineup and somehow make a run. That's it.
Well, I
feel like I'm asking for a real pipe dream there, or you'd be asking for it.
Well, it was like a month, though, right, that Anthony Davis is going to be out. And like a month prognosis for Anthony Davis means we'll see him sometimes in 2027. Like, there's just no way. It's Anthony Davis.
Amazing. 855-212-4227. Our own Andrew Kaplan in our chat, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet. April 9th in Dallas is going to be wild, he said. I'm going to agree with that. Hopefully a few more people are healthy for the Mavericks side. And it's not that we got a bad game necessarily, Prof. We actually did get an exciting game. And I should mention, it was LeBron really bringing them home. This has been all about Luka, but LeBron was amazing in the fourth quarter. Pearl, I swear to you, at one point, he caught a lob that was like, and dunked it, that looked like he was Odell Beckham Jr.
I want my damn respect, too.
That crazy game against the Cowboys all those years ago with the one-handed. Like, I don't know. EJ's not here, so my superhero references are probably going to land short. Spider-Man? I don't know what he is. How does he keep doing this? Anyway, I was super impressed with LeBron.
A lot of Spider-Man there.
I don't know.
Oh,
You know I'm out of my depth on this
Everybody knows superheroes except for you, by the way. You don't need EJ to know that there's...
What would you call it?
I like the Odell Beckham. That was good. You should have just quit there.
All right, I'll just stay with Odell. Look like Odell. He's like one-handed catches and slamming down these tomahawk dunks. As I said, it looked like Lob City.
Spider-Man's more like a junior in high school. Has a lot of witty lines and then occasionally stops a bad guy. Like that's more the Spider-Man vibe.
So that's not what I'm looking for.
That's some disrespect to Peter Parker. He did a little bit more than that.
Save the world a couple times?
Did he?
Stop the subway.
Yeah, barely.
Now you're grading. It's like, did he save the world? But, what about the style points?
Next on Maggie and Perloff, could Spider-Man have done more with the subway?
Manny, we should blow her mind.
Did he use his powers to the most? Like Aaron Rodgers only winning one Super Bowl. It's like, was it a disappointment?
We should explain the plot of the two Spider-Verse movies to her, which are, have you seen those, the cartoons?
Yes, I have.
They're
Indeed.
amazing,
Yes.
but Maggie would not understand.
Not at all.
Yes. No. There's there's 5,000 versions, a bunch of female versions of Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man is a big thing. Watch Spider-Verse with your son. You'll like it. It's really, really good.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to take your word for it. 855-212-4227. Yeah.
I thought it should have been nominated for an Oscar. I'm not even joking. The Spider-Verse 1 is a tremendous, tremendous animation. Like, it's an incredible movie. It's a cartoon. Like, it takes the whole genre to a whole new level, almost to a LeBron-like level.
Oh, wow. All right. Thank you for bringing it back home for me. Because clearly I'm just way over my skis on anytime I bring up a superhero. It was like Odell Beckham Jr., put it that way. LeBron James catching this crazy lob pass and then dunking it home in the fourth quarter because Luka's conditioning kind of showed up, lack of it, kind of showed up in the fourth quarter of this game last night. And LeBron was right there to just look like he's 25.
Yeah, I mean, the difference is Spider-Man going against a Green Goblin, who's awesome, not Dante Exum and the scrub city team that is the Dallas Mavericks.
Dante Exum. Oh, man. I don't know. I saw Kyrie out there doing some pretty cool things.
I mean,
Kyrie's
honestly,
shot making was crazy last night.
He's ridiculous
Kyrie,
finisher.
Like, if you play pickup and you know everyone around you stinks and like you're totally free and loose and you play like this, like Kyrie's going to love this situation because he loves being the man, but they are going to lose a lot of games. They're done, not just for this year. Like they're pretty much done as a franchise.
As a franchise.
I mean, like they're going to be
feels like it.
They're going to be mediocre for 5 years.
I mean, they were in the finals last year. I don't want to, but yeah, no, it feels extremely bleak. Anyway, we're asking you off of last night's game and just really what we've seen over the last 10 days or so. Who do you trust more to get to the NBA Finals? The Lakers or the Warriors? Do you know there's someone on the Mavs named Olivier Maxence Prosper?
Yeah, I've heard that name.
The first name's hyphenated.
Yeah. So is Carl Anthony.
Yeah, maybe I'm just a little more used to him because we've been watching him since he was in high school. Olivier Maxence Prosper played 7 minutes last night for the Mavs. 855-212-4227. Let us know what you think. Who do you trust more to get to the finals? The Lakers or the Warriors? Let's go.
All right, Maggie. Second half of the basketball season is here, and the race to the playoffs is heating up on Prize Picks. I know you were all over Luka yesterday. Might not have worked out, but we can get right back in there today because the NBA, hockey, golf, everything is going on. And the best place to cash in on your favorite sports with over 10 million members, billions of dollars in award-winning Prize Picks. They've made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. App is so simple to use. Pick 2 or more players across any sport. Pick more or less on their projection. You win up to 1,000 times your money. Don't miss your chance to cash in. Especially NBA right now is killing it.
Love NBA, and my favorite thing to do right now is to pair the NBA with college hoops. And I don't know if you were watching last night, major upsets on the men's side last night, including Georgia, now firmly on the bubble after taking out Florida last night in Athens. Kirby Smart sitting front row. That one was awesome. No, maybe he didn't get a W last night, but I'm back on tonight, as you said, because America's #1 daily fantasy sports app is Prize Picks, and it's available to play in more than 40 states, including California and our friends in Texas. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code MNP. Get a $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. That's code MNP on Prize Picks to get $50 in bonus promo funds instantly when you play $5. Win or lose, you get the $50 bonus credit for just playing. It's guaranteed, guys. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Mand P. You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Maggie, my wife is out of town, so I'm in a small state of panic right now. I don't really have the skills to handle all this.
Man, after all these years,
Yeah.
your daughters are basically self-sufficient. But.
Yeah, they're 12 and 14 now, so they should be fine. Except that they usually have help in the morning, so my kids are taking care of it. My wife's at an education conference in Indianapolis. Now, what's going on in Indianapolis? So she calls me last night in the afternoon. She goes, what is going on in this town? Why are there so many gigantic people walking around? And I'm like, it's the NFL scouting combine, and you're there, and I'm not. You're getting to hang out with Mike Silver and the director of pro personnel for the Panthers, and I'm not.
Jealous.
Anyway, she's like, it is the freakiest thing. She's like, these steakhouses are mobbed with like these like meatheads. I'm like, yeah. That's Indy around combine time. She's probably got more gossip than anyway. She's like, yeah. So the weirdest thing, I was sitting next to somebody with a Pittsburgh accent. And he was talking about veteran quarterbacks. No, that didn't happen. But
mentioned Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Robust Sam Darnold conversation having at Starbucks.
She's like, tell me more about Matthew Stafford. So anyway, the
Would
combine.
your wife know anybody? Like, sometimes,
Nobody.
yeah, right. So, like Howie Roseman. Would she know Nick Sirianni?
She might know. She would probably recognize Patrick Mahomes, maybe Travis Kelce.
Well, they're not there.
That's the list. That's
she
it.
wouldn't recognize Andy Reid. She wouldn't say,
No,
that guy
no
looks
idea.
somewhat familiar.
Not even
She's
the
been
slightest.
married to an Eagles fan now. You guys have been married for 15 years?
Yeah, no, not the slightest clue. She will not engage in football. My daughter, however, is getting into it because all the boys
Taylor
talk
Swift
about it.
stuff, yeah.
No, because she's discovered that 13-year-old boys only care about football.
Go Birds.
Yeah. So anyway, she's getting into it, but no, my wife has this gigantic blind spot about football.
Yeah.
She likes basketball.
Most women do. Or a lot of women do. Although it's changing a little bit. So all those years when you and I used to go to the combine when we were working for Sports Illustrated, which was a lot of fun. I actually am getting a little FOMO recently about not being there, but there was always this like dance competition that was also going on while the combine was going on. So you'd have all these dance moms and like girls wearing ballerina outfits and like glitter and like it's actually not ballerina outfits. It's like they're doing like high difficulty maneuvers, some of these dance people.
For a second, I thought you meant front office personnel and players were having dance-offs.
That's exactly what I thought she was talking about. I thought she meant like...
Brett Veach, I don't think, is having a dance-off with Eric DeCosta.
They're all meeting up at IU Indianapolis to go do this.
Get your glitter. No, it'd be like young girls. You don't remember this? They'd be like all in the hallways.
Everyone knows what dance competitions are. You're right.
It felt like such a weird dichotomy. One is an education conference that your wife is at versus football. All right, not that crazy. This was two different forms of athleticism, just very,
Indianapolis, baby.
Very different.
That was my favorite Super Bowl of all Super Bowls was the Indianapolis Super Bowl. It was,
a good one.
I think it was 2011 or 2000. Yeah, 2011.
Giants' second one with Eli.
The best thing about it, Indianapolis, Manny, is everything is connected via tunnel, so you don't have to go outside.
Oh, is that right?
It feels like a giant sort of hotel/mall.
Yeah,
I kind of
walk down a corridor forever.
I'm a huge fan of Indianapolis, also too because their pride and joy is steak, and there's nothing but steakhouses. And I'm a huge steakhouse guy. Are you a fan of steakhouses?
Absolutely.
Wait, isn't like the shrimp cocktail like what everybody goes to get in Indy?
Yeah.
But it's at a steakhouse because Indy is primarily a cattle town. So you get really like the cow is just killed right outside the restaurant.
Not very familiar with my Midwest cattle.
Yeah,
I think it is a little odd that a place like Indianapolis, where the nearest ocean isn't for 2,000 miles, somehow the signature dish is shrimp cocktail. But sure. Jay in Nashville in the chat reminding me, I shouldn't say that about women in the South. Somebody's grandma got more X's and O's knowledge than your average male fan. I stand corrected.
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily true. You know what? Actually, my wife is really engaged with. It's coming up. She's always been in a March Madness because of office pools.
Yep.
So that is one easy one
she's
for
back
her.
up.
Yeah.
Only got a couple more weeks.
So she gets really into it, but she does not, for some reason, she doesn't love football, but she can't understand why all these, she said there are a lot of ex-players there. So I think she's seeing like the personnel guys and Vrabel types. She probably was sitting next to Mike Vrabel at a restaurant and didn't even know it.
You know, Spencer's in the chat saying, Jim Irsay versus Mark Davis dance-off. What would be the funniest dance-off between owners?
Well, Irsay's a major musician, so I've seen
and a
Irsay
maniac.
dance.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, I mean, tour. I think like he takes a band on the road. He's like very, very serious.
Also, who
he's
knows
also
what he's on?
Have you ever seen him perform? He's really, really good.
Who is he touring with? James Dolan playing the kazoo?
No, he's so much better than Dolan. Well, Dolan's okay, but
is he?
Irsay's really good. I've seen Irsay do, like, Irsay's a good singer. I know that sounds weird.
I'm surprised he has an esophagus left. There's been so much this guy has ingested, nasal cavities, the whole deal, and he's been obviously very open about that. Yeah, what's the funniest dance-off? You know, Andy Reid, I don't know if you guys watched any of his press conferences yesterday. the weight loss continues. He looks like his face is the same, Pearl, but he looks like he has slimmed down even more.
Since the Super Bowl?
It's crazy.
Well, he looked, I saw him.
It was only 16 days ago, wasn't it?
The morning after the Super Bowl, I actually noticed it. I think he's lost, triple digits for sure.
Tons of weight.
Yeah.
So a dance-off with him would not be as funny now.
You think he's on the big O?
I do.
The vitamin O?
Yeah, or he maybe even had a tummy staple. I think he did something drastic. And thank God, because he was unhealthy. If you look at pictures from 8 years ago, he was totally unhealthy. Now he looks great.
Yeah, well, it turns out can't eat 2 bacon double cheeseburgers for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
But his dance move, of course, he's got the best dance move ever. What Andy Reid dabbing in the locker room after a loss or after a big win was so funny.
We sure we're calling that a dab?
What do you mean?
That was not a very good-looking dab.
It was the best-looking dab.
Alrighty.
It was so funny. I mean, look, first of all, he had such a gigantic arm he was dabbing into, man. There's not a lot of fluidity when you weigh 300 pounds.
You can get the arm up over the. Yeah, now he and Brian Dable are both thin.
Yeah.
So
Dable,
a dance-off
too.
between the two of them would not be like as entertaining. I don't.
Which
think.
NFL coach do you think is the best dancer? It's got to be one of the young
Mike
guys,
McDaniel?
right?
Sean McVay.
Oh, it's McDaniel. McDaniel was looks like a backup dancer. Like,
and he's spending all that time down in Miami, hitting the Miami nightclubs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think it's probably him, but maybe there's like a sneaky candidate.
Sean McVay, Zach Taylor. It got to be one of the young guys.
I don't think D'Amico Ryans could be a good dancer.
Oh yeah, I mean D'Amico Ryans played in the NFL, of course.
Good footwork.
Yeah. You're right. He played recently.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, that's when we were going to the combine not that long ago. The crossover conference that used to be there with the scouting combine was always this dance competition for these young girls, and it'd be weird to see Rick Spielman walking down the hall, and then here's a bunch of girls with glitter and tap shoes on, trying to line up to get the same lunch. Okay, Andrew Bogusch is here. Happy birthday in person. How'd it go last night? What did your family have planned for you?
Well, I need a voice for my birthday.
Oh, my goodness.
That good of a party, huh?
Yeah, right. Unfortunately, my wife's plans were thrown off by the delivery man yesterday. We have a little mini tradition of ordering dinner from through Goldbelly, some well-known restaurant from around the country. We've done Primanti Brothers sandwiches. We had deep dish pizza one year. This year was supposed to be Arthur Bryan's ribs from KC. And despite dinner being on said delivery truck at 7:30 yesterday morning, it didn't get to our house until 7 p.m. So we had to change dinner plans on the fly. So now my big birthday dinner is tomorrow night.
Not even tonight, tomorrow night?
I'm not going to be home tonight.
Fordham game?
I got a game tonight.
What you eat instead?
We just had some steak and rice and veggies.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on one second. So it got there at 7 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
And you couldn't eat it?
You had to cook it for more than an hour.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, not bringing it hot off the UPS truck, Maggie.
Sure. I thought maybe it was a warm it up type thing. 10
They send
minutes.
you raw ribs?
They're cooked and freeze dried and seasoned, but they have to but we didn't know when they were coming. And
so
I
you
have
had to
two
plan,
tiny kids, so we had to change plans.
No, when kids get hangry too, it's a nightmare.
Also, since we started working this morning shift, my dinner time has gotten old man dinner time. I'm 5:30. Let's go.
So I went to the doctor for my physical recently, and I was complaining about
what are the results.
Everything
Tell us
everything is fine, but I was complaining about being an old man and being woken up by my bladder in the middle of the night.
That's not good.
And
I'm 75.
And the doctor said I should stop drinking 3 hours before bedtime, and I'm like, dude, that's 6 o'clock in the day. I can't. I'm gonna dehydrated. Yeah, what are you talking about? The sun's still gonna be up soon. You want me to stop drinking liquids?
But I don't even understand it. How do you get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom? Because I fall asleep and my alarm goes off an hour and a half later.
Feels like it.
How do you stay sleepy? And your schedule's even worse than me because you have to commute longer.
Well, the good news is I can during the week it's not that bad because it doesn't kick in until post 6 hours of sleep. And I don't get that during the week. It's on the weekends though, Saturday morning, Sunday morning, all last week when I had later hours because I was filling in for Bill Ryder, 4 o'clock, boom. It was my own personal physical alarm.
But,
You gotta get up.
But it's funny because you're up at 4 o'clock normally.
So I'm fine, right? So I can make it until 4 a.m. If I'm trying to sleep past 4 a.m., then the bladder intervenes.
This is crazy because I'm not so long removed from potty training my son.
Yeah.
It was a similar strategy.
Right.
Like you got to cut the liquids off like an hour before he goes to
I
bed.
remember that. That's
very,
a big
very
deal.
important.
Oh,
So
the
you're
worst.
basically potty training yourself. Congratulations.
Thanks. I'm going to
Happy
get a wee-wee
birthday.
pad.
I just learned something.
There's 2 issues as a parent that you don't want: waking up in the middle of the night and trying to clean up a bed that has
Been puked in
or
peed in.
Anything.
Yeah.
And the worst is if there's an accident in the tub, then it's like
Oh my
code red.
gosh.
Code red. We have a code red.
It was like an
situations-
epidemic when my kid was young. We couldn't get through a week without him pooping in the tub. I'm like, this is a nightmare.
You have to it's like get men with giant white suits like in Caddyshack come in and
You
clean
hold
it.
him out, like as far away as possible.
That sounds like college. So, I mean, that doesn't sound too awful.
But in college, you didn't use the
People pooping
disinfectant.
in
You
your
just
tub
ran
in
with
college.
it.
Man, you get new friends. Oh my gosh.
Upstate, baby. Me and Peter Schwartz.
Wait, what?
Now I got that image. Thank you. Actually, in the chat, they said in terms of a dance-off, a Peter Schwartz versus Jody Mack, says Spencer. I'm down for it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, my
either-
girth is rather large.
Yeah, I'm not sure either one of them is built for that. I don't want Jody upping his effort level, and I don't
Wait a
think
minute. I'm sorry. Manny, your college friends were pooping in the tub?
you sleep in tubs.
I plead the
That
fifth.
was my birthday.
I plead the fifth.
Did you guys ever have this? Now that we're getting gross, and I apologize. Please don't turn the channel if you're gross out. We had the guy who would pee in random spots when he was super drunk.
Yeah.
which was every night.
Oh,
By
like
the way.
in the laundry bin?
No,
and
he'd
stuff
like you'd be asleep and you'd see this guy walk up and open your drawer and start peeing on your underwear.
Yeah. We woke up in high school to my friend up against the wall, and we're like, Matt, that is not the bathroom.
yeah. Like there was some delusion. Okay.
Yeah. He thought he was in the bathroom, and he was in my friend's up against my friend's bedroom wall.
So how hard did you guys punch him?
Well,
No.
I was going to say, Bogusch,
where?
you just went to the doctor and said you can't make it through the night without getting up to pee. At least you're not peeing in the corner.
Right. It goes where it's supposed to. I just wish I didn't have to wake up for
Like this
it.
guy would like open your backpack and do his business. He was bizarre. He had like a mental issue.
Is he
Super nice
Rashad
guy.
Mendenhall? Isn't
He
that?
was- yeah.
Wow.
Oh, my
No.
gosh.
Wait, I thought you were talking about the other.
Najee,
Najee Davenport, yeah.
Yeah.
That was right in the shoe.
Oh, I thought it was in the it was in a shoe. It wasn't in
Oh,
a
it might have
dresser.
been in a closet.
I thought. Do I have the wrong player? Isn't it?
Yeah, you think of Najee Davenport.
Okay, who
yeah.
went in a laundry basket in the
Yeah.
closet?
Who did you
Okay,
say? Rashard Mendenhall had a whole different set of issues
Okay,
going
my
on.
bad.
Yeah.
No, Andrew Brand was Najee Davenport's agent. I'm gonna choke. And he's like, yeah, that was quite a crisis I had to deal with. I'm like, no kidding.
Yeah, that was new for me.
Do you guys remember there was when Ambien became a thing? This is like 20 years ago, the
Yeah,
sleeping
like-
drug. I don't know if it's still a thing.
Ambien's been a thing
Oh, okay.
forever.
Okay.
It's still a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But so Ambien
Yeah.
became a thing. You're talking about people getting up and peeing and going in random places. Do you remember Ambien was making people get up and like go in their kitchen and eat all their food without knowing what they were doing? Or sometimes they'd get behind the wheel of a car, which was really scary. But imagine taking an Ambien, you come down and all of a sudden all your Arthur Bryant's has been eaten. And you have no recollection of it. You didn't get to enjoy it. Anyway.
Well, also, kids are all taking melatonin now too.
Yeah.
I'm big on the melatonin. Big on Melly.
Yeah,
Big
your
on Melly.
generation loves.
Melly.
But like once you take
Not
them
the Molly,
once,
the
here's my
Melly.
problem. With, I'll
Big
be
Melly
honest
guy.
with sleeping pills. Once you take them once or twice, then you can't sleep without them, like melatonin. So now you're addicted to melatonin for life, man.
Well, I'm addicted to a lot of things. So.
Yeah, Add it to the
Melatonin is
list.
the least of your worries. All right, folks.
Pop
What do we
some
got?
nicotine in my mouth right now.
We got
What do you
headlines.
got yins over there?
Of course he does. Headline sponsored by Progressive Insurance, not health insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with our easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. I hate Manny. Right back to my good friend Manny, the human scoreboard. It appears the New York Rangers won last night.
Lindgren to Fox to Brzezinski to the net. He scores! Johnny Brzezinski! How about that?
Hockey.
Rangers lead 3-1. 2-goal game for Brzezinski.
A 2-goal game for Brzezinski and a 5-1 win at the Islanders means Manny Pucks is in his Artemia Panarin Rangers alternate jersey.
Call
this
me the
morning.
bread man.
I thought the announcer said randomly the word hockey. Was that on air?
No, that was Manny.
That was Manny in my ear saying hockey.
No, that was on air, and it was Manny.
That was Manny Panarin right there.
Yeah, no, I don't think Sam Rosen in year 50 of doing Ranger games all of a sudden just screams out hockey.
It's a power play goal, hockey.
But I'm just curious, like,
Maybe
why
should.
did you interrupt the highlight by saying hockey? What was going on there?
I just love the sport.
In the middle of the highlight? Okay, all right.
Love my Rangers.
The Rangers win, by the way, keeps them 2 points away from the last wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. The Flames jumping into the last spot out west with a 3-1 win in Washington. That lone Capitals goal, of course, from Alex Ovechkin, his 30th of the season, 883rd of his career. So now he needs 12 to pass Wayne Gretzky for the most all time. It's Luka 1, the Mavs nothing. Dončić and the Lakers held off Dallas 107-99 in LA last night in their first reunion. Luka 19 points, 15 rebounds, and 12 assists.
It was amazing. They're trying to push me. I know I didn't play great, but I'm glad we got the win, and, they're trying to push me more and more.
His teammates, that is. Luka 6 of 17 from the floor, 1 of 7 from 3, hence saying he didn't play that well. The Cavs crushed the Magic 122-82 for their 8th straight win. It's 6 in a row for the Celtics after a 111-101 victory in Toronto. And the Grizzlies outlasted the Suns 151-148 in overtime. Ja Morant, 28 points and 9 assists. Georgia took down men's number 3 Florida 88-83 after throwing away a 26-point first-half lead. And 9th-ranked Iowa State losing at OK State 74-68. The Cowboys lost their 2 previous games with ranked opponents by a combined 70 points before pulling off this upset. We'll see if they actually do it, but the Bengals talking a good game about signing Jamar Chase long-term. This was Director of Player Personnel Duke Tobin yesterday in Indy.
Well, we're going to reward Jamar. He's an important part of he's going to be the guy. So it's just a matter of getting it done and still having some stuff to maybe build the rest of the team.
A reminder, the Bengals do not have, by title, a general manager. So this is the highest ranking person in their front office. He went on to say they'll make Chase the highest paid non-QB in the league. That's currently Justin Jefferson with a $35 million annual average value.
And somewhere the Joneses just like, phew. We thought we would have to make Micah Parsons the highest non-quarterback, but have at it, Bengals.
I love this. Have you ever heard Chase compete with Justin Jefferson? The fact that those guys were on the same college team and they're 2 best receivers.
Who was the quarterback?
I don't even remember. Was it who was the LSU? No, I'm just kidding.
Then you had me for a second.
Yeah.
Well played.
But I'm a big everyone's a system guy. I'm like,
Nussbaum.
I don't know how to claim somebody on that LSU team as a system. I'm like, well, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson were only good because Joe Burrow was throwing to them, or I would normally say Joe Burrow was only good because he was throwing to these guys. And now all 3 are amazing beyond belief. Chase is, like you agreed, Chase has to be the highest paid non-quarterback. He's the best player. He's probably one of the top 3 players in the NFL. He's incredible.
No, he's amazing. I just thought Micah Parsons is probably going to be up there. Myles Garrett, whenever he gets his extension, is probably going to be up there. I was surprised that they put it that way.
I think receiver, because you're showing
the highest paid wide receiver.
But I think receivers are topping defensive ends now, which is funny because there's 2 receivers and you have to pay a lot of them. But it feels to me like wide receiver is now the second position, right? Even bigger than defensive end.
Yeah, I thought this was a bubble that was going to pop, but maybe it'll pop after Chase. I don't know.
I don't know.
Not sustainable.
You don't think?
No, because you need more than one, I think.
Well, listen, Justin Jefferson at $35 million is a bargain to me. Like, he's just incredible. You have to have 3 guys follow him around the field. So I'm not sure that bubble pops.
But I don't think it's like the quarterback number where every wide receiver is going to just keep jumping the previous guy. Like, these 2
that
might be separate.
Because CeeDee Lamb didn't.
Right.
He got close, but he didn't actually top it.
But yeah, he's not quite as productive as Justin Jefferson. Tyreek Hill wants more money now. He's getting a little old, though.
Yeah, it's different.
Is there anybody? You're right. That's a good point. Is there who's next on the horizon? You have the wide receiver.
I'm assuming Nico Collins is still on his rookie contract in Houston, right? And he's not going to pass them.
Yeah.
Got a couple of guys from this last draft. Malik Neighbors for your Giants. Brian Thomas looks like he's a thing. And who else from this draft? Who am I missing?
From this year's draft?
Yeah, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, and guys. I'll think of it. Anyway.
All right. Last thing from me, MLS has fined Messi an undisclosed amount for putting his hands on the back of the neck of an NYCFC assistant during an argument after Saturday's season opening match.
Grabbed Mehdi Bellucci like he was a small puppy by the back of the neck. It was incredible.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
There it is.
Oh, okay.
I was just trying to fill some time.
Thank you very much, Manny and I. Simpatico.
Manny Soccer?
Manny football. Oh, dude, the Barcelona game yesterday. I'll talk to you in the newsroom.
Can't wait.
You guys do that offline. 855-212-4227. Bogusch, thanks. All right, we're asking you the question today. Who would you trust more to get to an NBA Finals? This new version of the Lakers or the new version of the Warriors? Coming up, we've got some 49ers news that you got to know next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, M&P, Maggie Perloff show. So, feels like things have been a tiny bit quiet, Perloff, around San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
And they've obviously got a lot of work to do this offseason, starting first and foremost with Brock Purdy and getting his extension done. So I was a little surprised to hear Diana Rossini on her amazing podcast with Chase Daniel,
Yep.
talking about the 49ers situation, because we've known that they need to sign Brock Purdy ever since Brock became a thing, right?
Yep.
And yet, they're still trying to make all the pieces fit in terms of the offense. So here's Diana, and you'll hear 14-year NFL veteran Chase Daniel talking about the Niners and some calls they've been getting.
There are some teams poking around now to see if the 49ers would be willing to deal Brandon Aiyuk.
Let me just take off the GM hat and put on my quarterback hat. If I'm Brock Purdy and I even get a whiff of you trying to trade my number one receiver, I am not signing with you.
Okay, so trading
Yeah,
Brandon
right.
Aiyuk, just went through all of this tumult and turmoil in the offseason, Pearl, to get a deal done with Aiyuk. They finally do it to the tune of, 4 years, $120 million. And now we're already talking about teams inquiring to see if he's available for a trade. What's going on here?
Well, it's so funny. My instant reaction is like, why on earth would anybody trade for Brandon Aiyuk? Like,
Coming off an injury?
he's coming off an ACL. He definitely and he's getting, how much money is it?
He signed for 4 for 120.
Yeah, like, why would anyone take on that money for a wide receiver coming off an ACL? That seems insane. Like, you'd have to attach a draft pick to Brandon Aiyuk. Unless, I'd have to look at the numbers. Are people coming back from ACLs faster than ever before? But a speed position like that, I would think his value is his all-time low right now.
I don't know. I mean, listen, I think that somebody wants this out there, right? Because you don't go to Diana with it if you don't want to get this information out there, that you be poking around about Brandon Aiyuk. Listen, I think Debo is gone, right? Like, either Debo, they're going to try to find a trade, but I don't think that's going to happen. He's probably going to get cut. They've been trying to trade Debo for a long time. You still have an expensive Christian McCaffrey. You've got Brandon Aiyuk now, who's expensive. You extended Juwan Jennings. You've got George Kittle that you have to make a decision on. Trent Williams is going to, they got a deal done with him, but does he always want a little bit more money? And then the Brock thing. So, I'm just really curious, like, are they going to have to part ways with beyond Debo? I'm kind of unfortunately kind of putting Debo to the side. I think he's definitely gone.
Mm-hmm.
But is there another big offensive piece that the Niners are going to have to part with? Because Chase Daniel's right here. What he's saying is that Brock Purdy needs these many weapons to get the full Brock Purdy. So you can't start taking weapons away. Look what happened last season when Brandon Aiyuk got hurt and when guys were in and out of the lineup, including McCaffrey. Like, Brock was not the same.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they really wanted to put all that cap space into Aiyuk last year. Like, they were so hesitant. I think they'd be thrilled to get him off their books. I mean, I don't even think there'd be a question mark
the dead
about
cap is like a lot, not to get too much in the weeds about it.
But, like, if they could find a way, like, I think they didn't even want to do that money last year. Like, they were
Then why did they?
Well, here's the thing. The bottom line is you have Kyle Shanahan. Like, he's what does the offense. Like, you figure you don't have to pay up at every position, but Shanahan will draw up plays to get value. I think where they really have to be worried is their defense, and they did the right thing this offseason. They got Saleh back and made him probably the highest paid assistant ever. So I would get rid of Aiyuk. I would consider getting rid of McCaffrey and then just hope that Shanahan can figure it out like he did. He's done many times in his career.
No, I get that, but there's no doubt there's a clear chemistry between Brock Purdy and Brandon Aiyuk, and I think that's what eventually pushed this thing over the finish line, because think about it. There were rumors. Pittsburgh Steelers were interested. New England Patriots were interested. Jacksonville Jaguars were interested in Brandon Aiyuk, and this was all season. It was during the draft, multiple times that this bubbled up to the surface, and yet the 49ers, I think, were being a bit stubborn about the asking price. There were teams interested. If you really didn't want to pay Aiyuk, no one was holding a gun to your head to do it.
Well, you say that, but are you sure that the Steelers, for example, were going to give exactly what the Niners wanted? I think the Niners.
Sometimes you got to give a little if you really don't want to pay the guy.
Well, I don't think they definitely want to pay the guy. I think they thought, well, he's really good, but is he worth 30? I think they were hesitant.
I can't let the 49ers off the hook because they did the deal.
Well, I'm just saying, but now that he tore his ACL, I'm sure they'd be happy to get him off the books, right? Like, as you mentioned, they have a lot of situations.
I don't know. He's still so young. He's 27 years old. He's coming off an ACL. This is not such a devastating injury that he's never going to be himself again. It's not a spinal cord injury or something.
He might need a year, though, to really be himself. And also, too, once you tear your ACL, your knee is always going to be an issue. I don't know. I think they'd love to get rid of him.
855-212-4227. Lots more to do, including an unexpected quarterback competition.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Logs on every day, wonders what the break song plays. Blake Alexander needs to know, where does the music even go? They type in the chat, they beg, they plead, but Daly just laughs, he won't take the lead. No answers, no hints, not even a clue, just silence, like Belotti's desk view. They type in the chat, they beg, they plead, but Daly just laughs, he won't take the lead. No answers, no hints, not even a clue, just silence, like Belotti's desk view. Oh, John and Blake, they're losing their minds. Daly won't answer, he just declines. Where's the music from? We'll never know. Meanwhile, Belotti's still a no-show. Over in Texas, the sun shines bright. Kevin LaMelo starts his bite. Pancakes, bacon, eggs on his plate, while John and Blake still sit and wait. Then Blake grabs the mic, it's time for a take. He clears his throat, then shouts out, yo, this is a Blake. They say out of sight, out of mind, but I can't get you out of mine. That Blake song loops inside my head till Daly speaks, or I'm declared dead. Maybe it's jazz, maybe it's funk, maybe it's AI or corporate junk. Daly just smirks, won't say a thing. Belotti's alarm still won't ring. Oh, John and Blake, they're losing their minds. Daly won't answer, he just declines. Where's the music from? We'll never know. Meanwhile, Belotti's still a no-show. So if you hear that tune again, think of John Blake and their dead end. And if Belotti shows up on time, well, that'd be the real punchline.
Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Entire NFL world in Indianapolis for the scouting combine. And yesterday, basically every general manager and coach took to the podium. Maggie, Gray, Andrew Perloff, so glad to have you with us. So glad to be back in studio with you guys. Feeling so much better after I had a bit of a cold. Now, here was a revelation from yesterday, and it's from the Titans general manager, Mike Borgonzi. And this guy's kind of new on the job. We don't really know him very well. But the Titans have the number 1 pick in the draft. In a draft where, Pearl, there's basically 2 quarterbacks we think are going in the first round, yet there's 7 teams that need quarterbacks and would like young quarterbacks. So here is the Titans general manager, new guy, new on the job, saying that he's taken phone calls.
I would say we've had some phone calls. Yeah, I'll keep those phone calls to the vest, but we've had some phone calls, yeah. There's a handful of players, anytime you're at the top of the draft that you would deem generational talents, and we certainly feel that way this year as well. Well, it's a real skill set of talent, an impact player that can take the team to another level, whatever position it is. And then they also have to have the character makeup as well to go with it.
Okay, so that's a little of the Titans general manager saying 2 things there, outlining what he thinks a generational talent means, and 2, saying, yeah, they've been taking phone calls. Perloff, do you believe that this pick is actually for sale?
Yes, I definitely do. Now, that is, first of all, this is the domino of the whole draft. Right now, everybody in Indy is probably trying to figure out, are the Titans really selling this? Because if the Titans do not take a quarterback, that means Cleveland and New York get their choice, who are the 2 and 3 pick, get their choice of quarterbacks. So Stafford can't move until people know what's doing with the Titans. Kirk Cousins can't sign until people know what's going on with the Titans. Because all these teams that you mentioned, was it 7 teams you said that need to go?
I mean, I'm just kind of doing back of the envelope
here.
They
all want Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. I'm sure every one of them is scouting them and wants those guys. So if the Titans shock the world and say they don't get the trade they want and they pick a non-quarterback, then that changes everything. So I think right now in Indy, everyone's calling Borgonzi and saying, are you really not drafting a quarterback? And if so, can I get up there? So it is just a massive game changer, because if you can't get Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, you can't trade up to number 1, then you have to sign an old guy. So he's kind of this dude who's just got hired on January 17th is holding the whole NFL hostage, I believe.
Wow, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. Yeah. It's smart, but the way that the NFL calendar works, that's not the way this is going to go, because free agency happens before the draft.
Right.
So some of these teams are going to have to tip their hand. And I think you'll see a lot of teams say, well, even if we sign a veteran, that doesn't mean we won't also try to draft a young guy if it makes sense for the top of the draft. We're going to know where Stafford's going. We're going to know about Kirk Cousins. We're going to know about Justin Fields probably, and even the second tier guys before we get to the draft.
But the Giants will not go for Matthew Stafford if they think they can draft a quarterback. It's just the money would not make any sense. Now, last year, the last big trade we had was Bryce Young went number 1. That happened the day of free agency. That happened free agency week. So I do think the two are completely interconnected. Why would New York look at the money? Why would New York pay $50 million for Matthew Stafford if they could get Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders for cost control?
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. If Tennessee doesn't trade with the Giants, then they have to make this big risk and calculation if the Browns won't trade with them either. Either someone's going to jump you for one, and then what do the Browns do? And are you actually going to get left with the other guy and maybe have Shedeur or Cam Ward?
Yeah.
Or do you have to go a totally different direction?
But I think back to your original
Tommy
question.
Cutlets is starting for you.
Back to your original question, is it defensible to not draft a quarterback if you're Tennessee? I say no. I mean, I think they'd sign Cousins and do a Levis-Cousins combination, and what's the point of that? You got to draft one of these two guys, and you got to draft Cam Ward.
Yeah, to me, if you're Tennessee, you are committing career suicide if you don't take Cam Ward. Yeah. I think they can say that this pick is for sale, and they can talk about generational talents, but you know what? And I love Abdul Carter, and I love these pass rushers, but look at Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons and these guys who are otherworldly. When you're on bad teams with bad offenses, it makes your job really, really hard, and you don't have as big of an impact. So, yeah, if you're Tennessee, you'd be stupid, I think, to pass on Cam Ward. But did you guys know something? And I just found this out yesterday because I was watching a little of Mel Kiper. You know Mel.
Todd.
Thank you, Manny. Mel is still high on Will Levis.
Oh, I know.
He's not letting it
Will
go.
Levis, yeah.
I'm like, Mel, you got to let it go here. Like, you missed on Jimmy Clausen, and now you missed on Will Levis. You're a legend. Everyone respects you, but you got to let the Will Levis thing go. I can't even imagine being in the Tennessee Titans front office, even if this is not the robust, rabid fan base of maybe some of the, more traditional, original team, Steelers, whatever you want to say. Can you imagine if the Titans were like, you know what? Levis year 3. This is where the magic happens. Like, dude, you cannot do that to your fan base. Will Levis cannot be your starter.
That would be terrible.
Oh, you might as well just write your own pink slip, especially with this ownership group. You never know what they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, by the way, smoke that they like Shedeur, too. It's not by any means a done deal that they take Cam Ward because they visited Shedeur.
You okay? I didn't get you sick, did I?
They visited Shedeur at the Shrine Bowl, and ESPN's Teron Davenport, who covers them, said that they really, really like Shedeur. I think this Cam Shedeur thing is not done by a long stretch of the imagination. I think so. Cleveland is probably going to take one of those guys. I think Cleveland might be interested in Shedeur too, because Cleveland could use a distraction from Deshaun Watson. I feel like bring in Shedeur and Dion, and all of a sudden. So I think that there is a possible chance Shedeur goes number 1. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. And the Raiders also, if they trade up to number 1, they could go Shedeur because of Tom Brady. So there's a lot that's going to happen right here. But it's all this dude, Mike Borgonzi, who none of us had ever heard of. He was a assistant GM in Kansas City, right? Yeah. And now, to me, he holds the entire key. Even Stafford. I don't think Stafford can move until they know what Tennessee's going to do at number 1. Because first of all, I think he's more likely to go back to the Rams. But the Giants and Raiders are not going to go after Stafford if they think they can get a rookie.
No, but Stafford has to happen before the draft because the Rams are going to want draft compensation, I'm assuming, for this season.
But the Raiders and Giants would have to know. They would have to know, because they know. I mean, there's information going on behind the scenes. They know what's going to happen, right?
I don't know if the Giants know yet.
Well, that's why they won't trade for Stafford. I don't think until they know that there's no quarterback there, they will make that move. That's why I think Stafford will be on hold. And also, it's unlikely. Do you really think Stafford to Giants is happening?
I don't know, but the Giants became very uninteresting for a long time, and now suddenly they're interesting again. And I can't tell what's going on with them because you have the owner who says, I want to come out of this draft with a quarterback for the future. And you have the general manager who's saying, we got to win games right away because they're both on the hot seat, the GM and the coach. So this is what bad organizations do. This is what you do. You set up these 2 different timelines where the owner's saying one thing and the front office and guys who are trying to save their job feel like they have to do another. And I think that's what's keeping the Matthew Stafford thing alive. Joe Shane and Brian Daboll feeling like their pants are on fire with how hot the seat is would probably make them think, listen, if we could just get Stafford in here, maybe we're a 10-win team, 8-win team, as opposed to crossing our fingers and hoping that either we can trade up to get a quarterback or that one's going to fall in our lap. That's not a great strategy.
Yeah, I mean, they could. How about this strategy? What if they say, I'll give you a second-round pick, Tennessee, to move up to 1?
Second-round pick? That's not going to work.
Well,
you got to get from 3 to 1.
3 to 1, and we know that Tennessee doesn't want a quarterback. I mean, you can't give up a first. That's like, so basically you're stuck. So
no, the Giants are stuck. They're stuck like they were last year. Now, this is where the Giants really blew it for themselves. Yeah. They actually were in line for the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
They blew the tank. And last year, they're trying to, call the New England Patriots, who are even more desperate for a quarterback than they were, to think the Patriots are going to hand them Drake May? Like, the Giants just find themselves, whether it's their own fault or just the circumstances, find themselves in a horrible position here. I don't see a way out. And I think that's why Stafford and that's why the rumors won't quit.
Yeah,
because Stafford is the emergency escape hatch for the Giants to try to salvage these two guys' jobs.
I mean, as I said yesterday, Stafford would be a nuclear disaster for the New York Giants. It'd be the worst. It would be Russell Wilson to the Broncos. It would be Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. It would be Deshaun Watson to the Browns. It would be so bad.
Why?
Because first of all, did anyone know Russell Wilson to the Broncos was going to be bad? Did anyone know Rodgers to the Jets was going to be bad? Did anyone know Deshaun? Because he's an older quarterback. He's going to cost over $50 million. He's going to cost the rest of a lot of draft capital. As someone pointed out, if you're paying him $53 million, the Rams are going to be like, you're paying him top of the market. You better give us at least one first round or more. So you're giving up your future. They will probably be bad next year with Stafford. They'll probably have a top 10 pick, and then they're going to not be able to get a quarterback because all their assets are tied up in Stafford.
So I disagree. I think when you have to pay a guy, that makes the draft compensation go down because a team could say, listen, I got to pay him $50 million. I can't give you 2 first-round picks. Like that doesn't make any sense. So I think that actually could help a team like the Giants not have to give up as much because they have got to pay him now on the back end. I think the Rams would understand that. And, listen, you're talking about a team that's desperate, and desperate teams, that's what makes you do silly things.
Right, like the Broncos, the Jets, the Browns. Exactly. It's exactly the same model as those other teams that had these disastrous trades.
I just don't know if it would crash and burn to the way you think, because I don't know if anyone would come in and think Stafford's taking us to a Super Bowl. There were major expectations on Aaron Rodgers. There were major expectations on Russell Wilson. You come into a team like the Giants, who won exactly 3 games last year, and who have the longest odds to make the Super Bowl of any team in the National Football League, you can't say Stafford's bringing us a Super Bowl. You're hoping to maybe make the playoffs. That's the bar. So it's a different calculus.
You're paying him $50 million.
I know, but that's the cost of getting back to respectability. You should never have given Daniel Jones $120 million.
But the real cost of getting back to respectability is you destroy any chances of getting a franchise quarterback in the next 2 years.
Yeah, because Stafford will make you good enough where it's going to take you out of a quarterback.
Right. So you're looking at another 10 years of mediocrity then? Because where are you getting to win in the NFL? You need a young quarterback who will give you a decade of success. How are you going to get that if you? First of all, also
Matthew Stafford just won with the Rams. That wasn't a decade. It's been 4 years. He got traded from the Detroit Lions, and he won. That team was ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Rams. And also they have McVay. But also Stafford's 37. He is an indoor quarterback his entire career. Then you're sending him out to New York. Oh, this is going to be such a disaster. It'll be so bad. He will get hurt so fast. And I actually was looking at the numbers. He's definitely not a good quarterback outside. He's an 88.0 passer rating compared to mid-90s inside. And he's going to be vulnerable. His 2 worst games as a Ram happened to be in New York. If you remember, he was really bad in that Giants game 2 years ago. And then he did nothing in the Jets game last year. It's a bad situation. It reminds me so much of Denver and Cleveland and all these teams giving up. Maybe they give up less. You could be right. If they only have to give up 1 second-round pick, then I get it. But the money is going to be huge. You're not going to have any talent around him, but you're spending all your money on Stafford.
Well, they have a young team, and they actually drafted well last year. So they probably feel like, all right, we have money to burn on this quarterback.
Gosh, and next year's draft class could be really good, and they're just going to watch it go by.
Oh, so here's the other thing I was going to say about that. We're talking about the Giants now, and we started the conversation with whether the number 1 overall pick in this draft is actually for sale by the Tennessee Titans because their GM said they're taking calls. And he said that yesterday at the podium in Indy. The Giants may think, I don't know if this is true, hey, listen, we got Eli Manning. We didn't have the number 1 pick, and we finagled our way to get that.
Right.
If we really want Arch Manning and want to do this thing again, we don't need the number 1 pick. We have the playbook. We already did this. Now it's a different world.
Yeah.
A bit. Arch is going to get way more probably criticism than Eli got, but why not? It worked one time. It worked in 2004. Bring it back in 2026.
Because you just gave away all your draft picks that you need to get Arch to get Matthew Stafford. That second round pick.
I don't know.
It's not going to be. I don't think. Okay, if it's just like a second rounder, but even a second rounder, you need that to move up. I think it just really puts you in a hard position to get Arch, for example. And I know that's really like, you're right, that's magical thinking to think that the Giants are going to be in position to get Arch Manning, but you kind of know how this works. Like, there's a high risk that you pin yourself into mediocrity if you sign Matthew Stafford at best. And Stafford's going to be a big injury risk with that O-line, which is not good.
Yeah.
Older, outdoors. This just like, it has a huge risk of busting.
855-212-4227. We've got a lot more for you from the scouting combine because every general manager and coach spoke yesterday. I was most surprised by one team saying they're going to have a quarterback competition. I did not see this coming. You could have given me 15 guesses, and I would have guessed teams so far away from this team.
Barcelona Dragons.
I would have guessed the Barcelona Dragons before I guessed this team.
Kurt Warner's former team. I'm just kidding. I assume he.
That's the only one I know from the defunct NFL Europe.
Yeah,
the Rain Fire.
Oh, yeah, Rain Fire. That makes a little sense. 855-212-4227. All right, that Titans #1 pick, should they put it up for sale? And do you think Matthew Stafford would be a good fit with the New York Giants? 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Perloff Show. Just debating what the Titans should do with the number 1 overall pick. By the way, you know the Titans are the odds-on favorite with these odds for Kirk Cousins' next team. Although I feel like there's another team that we'll get into later that now seems to be emerging. I don't know who makes these odds on next team for the players, if you could actually bet on them, but we'll get into that. Meanwhile,
the quarterback competition that I didn't see coming at all.
Yeah, that's the other team I was thinking about. Ooh, they would fit for Cousins. But meanwhile, the Titans have a big decision to make, Mag.
Yeah, and they said they're getting calls on the number 1 overall pick. I think they'd be ridiculous to shop it. You can't roll Will Levis back out there or Cousins, in my opinion. New regime, clean slate. Draft a quarterback. Jay is in Nashville. Jay, what's the boots on the ground feeling in Nashville? Do you guys want Cam Ward or Shador or what?
Actually, I think people are so disgusted right now. They're not even talking about it. It's just like everybody's trying to get on with their lives instead of worried about what the Titans are doing. Because it's a disappointment all the time as far as GM or general management goes.
Yep.
And
no faith, no trust.
Yeah, and honestly, I hear what you're saying, Maggie. You know, it's a new regime and everything, but how many times they've had a new regime? It don't work out. And it's like the problem is not really the team, it's the front office. Like if I'm the Titans, and I really think that what good is a generational talent if your whole team sucks? One generation.
Put it on a
what
t-shirt.
good is that? Hey, let me tell you, who's a generational talent who had a great career, retired with nothing? Joe Thomas. You know who from that same team is a generational talent, and he's trying to get the hell out of there? Myles Garrett. Yeah. You know who else is a generational talent, and he's having trouble because the team sucks? Bryce Young. And matter of fact,
get out of here.
Zach, and Andrew was talking about that. You were out that day, Maggie. We were talking about that. Should they take C.J. Stroud or should they take Bryce Young? And I was like, Bryce Young is a generational talent, but after listening to Perloff and Zach about it, like the coach rather prefers somebody like C.J. Stroud. And I was like, you know what? He's got to take C.J. Stroud. And we see what happened with C.J. Stroud and with Bryce Young. They didn't have a team to protect anybody, especially little old Bryce Young.
You know, Jay, I'm sorry. You just made me think of something. Sorry, Perloff. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please go.
You just said something at the beginning of your call that I think has to be taken into consideration when you're talking about the Titans. And Jay, thanks for checking in as always. He said nobody cares. There's no faith in the team right now. No faith in the front office, right? No faith in the decision makers there. They're going to do the right thing. You want to know what that makes me think? Makes me think they're taking Shador to sell tickets and put fans in the seats and have some spice and Dion and the glitz of this great football family. I had not thought Shador was even a possibility until Jay just told me how down everybody is in Nashville on the Titans. They might feel like Shador's the bigger star than Cam Ward. We need him to become the face of the franchise and get people excited about this team.
Oh,
Do you think that at all?
No, I don't think NFL teams ever do that, right? Because they get all the money anyway from TV. I would be shocked if that was their thinking. I mean, especially Mike Borgonzi, who comes from Andy Reid Chiefs, so comes from kind of a cutthroat front office.
I don't know. I watched, again, it's the Giants, but offseason Hard Knocks where John Mara is saying Saquon Barkley's our most popular player. He never said best. He said he's our most popular player.
But this GM comes from a team that doesn't care at all about that kind of stuff. Like they would cut anybody. He comes from a team that traded Tyreek Hill, right? And Borgonzi was on the Chiefs, I think. Then like they don't. No, I don't think that when you're this bad, you can't really consider popularity. I do. I mean, Shador is right there with Cam Ward. The two are not that different of players. So I think. If they went with Shador, I think it'd be because they think he's a better quarterback. I understand your point. It's a valid one, but I don't think you can think like that. What I wanted to bring up was, did Jay say, and I couldn't totally understand what he was saying, that I said you should take C.J. Stroud over Bryce Young? Because if that's so, I want to go back and clip that. That was brilliant by me.
I don't remember you saying that. Apparently it was a show
With
that
Zach
you
Gelb?
co-hosted with Zach.
Yeah, I have no idea what he's talking about. You must have been on vacation or something, but I would like to find... Manny, can you find that clip where I said
Manny,
the Carolina Panthers
through?
need to take C.J. Stroud over Bryce Young? Because that would have been brilliant by me. I don't remember saying that at all.
I mean, how many shows did you do with Zach? Manny doesn't have that kind of time.
That being said, he also said Bryce Young is a generational talent. The big debate is Tennessee, like if they draft the right quarterback, is a team so bad they'll just ruin him, like the Houston Texans with David Carr. Like that's really what Jay was getting to. Like, what's the point of getting Cam Ward or Shador if the team stinks around him? That's a valid question.
855-212-4227. We're asking, do you think the Titans should pass on the number one overall pick? I do want to, before we get to Bogusch's headlines, I do want to get to a story from yesterday that had a pretty funny twist. So I had missed this. Adrian Wojnarowski, the famous newsbreaker from ESPN, is auctioning off much of his memorabilia.
That's right, yes.
To try to raise money for the St. Bonaventure Basketball Collective.
NIL, yeah, baby.
I can't stress enough, by the way, as an A-10 aficionado, this is a men's basketball only initiative because their women's program is suffering, and I don't think that
Woj not give a couple bucks to
I don't
the
think
women?
Woj is directing any money or efforts to finding female players for the Bonnies at the moment.
Just give them $10 or something. Come on, Woj.
Do
Continue.
you realize how much money you got to pay for people to go to Olean? Anyway, I've been up there.
Yeah.
I've been there many times.
Me
It is
too.
cold, it is dark, and it is
Empty.
cold and dark.
Western New York, baby.
Sun don't shine.
Western New York, Southern Canada. I mean, it's same.
It's I partied pretty hard there, and that's all I've got to say about that.
What were we doing there for fun?
One of my best friends went there.
Oh,
Good high school friend. Anyway.
I love you, Western New York.
So Woj is auctioning off stuff. He's auctioning off his old cell phones, some press credentials,
and you can have dinner with him. I think he's one of them too.
That's another
or
okay.
a phone call.
Now, as Perloff said, the phone is not going to have like every GM in the league. You don't get the phone and James Harden's numbers in it. He's going to wipe it clean.
I'm stealing this from somebody else, but what if it did have those numbers? What would it draw on eBay or whatever he's putting
Every
it on?
person would have to change their number. Woj would become the biggest pariah.
Would you actually be allowed to sell it with contact info like that on there?
Oh, I don't.
Like, is there privacy?
You know, it'd be hilarious if he changed everybody's name. So it's like, you don't know if you're calling Dwight Howard or you're calling Luka Dončić.
Right. Yeah. This is Rob Pelinka. Yeah. No,
it could be Obama. Who knows what Woj has got? He's got everybody's number.
Yeah. It would be much more valuable if it had those. But anyway.
Yeah, no, that'd be ridiculous. He can't do that. But anyway, so I don't know if anyone wants Woj's stuff, but he's auctioning off all of these. The iPhone that he used to break the Paul George, Kawhi Leonard to the Clippers, the NBA draft credential from Wemby's draft,
There's an ID badge as well to get into the ESPN building.
Yeah, that seems like a violation. I don't know if ESPN wants this stuff out
certainly turned
there.
off.
The iPhone that he used for his farewell tweet. How many phones does this guy have? He's like freaking Verizon. Anyway, Manny brought it to my attention that the website that is auctioning off these items.
I'm going to have to dump you if you say it.
According to Manny, if you just pronounce this thing straight through, it's a Spanish curse word.
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that I saw when I first saw this tweet. I mean, first my reaction was, what? He's auctioning off his phones? And then I immediately saw the link, putabounty.com.
Yeah.
That's not how my Latino brain read it, though.
Yes, there's a different word before bounty that means what? It's like a derogatory name for a woman, right?
Yep.
Or me. You've called me that.
I have, yes,
Yeah.
but never on air. And also not in front of your face as well.
Well, also, as we learned in one of our many, of these videos that we have to watch, about what we can do and what we can't do on the air, cursing in a foreign language also counts as a curse.
No bueno.
Yeah, it's not good. You can't spell it.
No.
You can't curse
No.
in a different language. It's whether it's English or Spanish, you're going to get in trouble.
That was in the video?
It was in the video.
Oh, my God.
So this is a website, putabounty.com.
Oh.
Manny is like, uh-oh.
Yeah, I think that's their one of their hashtag slogans. They can get that on a T-shirt in Olean. Put a bounty.
I mean, this is like the SNL skit with the rapists. He's like, it's therapists. Manny had,
Swords for two.
yeah, when SNL did a commercial for this sofa king. Like these, Manny, you were totally wrong on this one.
You know what? Maybe it should be capitalized. Put a bounty, make the A capital, make it distinguish it.
Well, here's the thing. I said this website definitely told on themselves. Clearly, they do not have a diverse staff working there because if anybody spoke any little bit of Spanish, they would have understood you just put a curse word in the title of the link.
Yeah, but you know what? For $2,500, you can get that iPhone that Woj used to break Paul George Kawhi to LAC.
What does put a bounty mean anyway?
That's also what I was wondering.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's like a like
Is
for
that
the
like
auction. I don't know.
I don't know.
Is there
It sounds
no
very
better
safe.
website for this kind of
I said,
deal?
was
called
Woj.com not
eBay.
taken?
Right, it's right
eBay.
there.
It's called
Etsy. Etsy, maybe.
I'm a huge bounty fan because my favorite NFL coach of all time, Buddy Ryan, used to put bounties on everybody. That makes sense. Like it's an NFL thing. I get put a bounty. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the bounty. I guess like
They're just trying to be silly, I guess. I don't know. It's called DAP's Bounty. I've never heard of it.
probably they had a initial stock offering that was crazy good. Like we make fun of it. They're probably rolling in money right now.
Well, now that they've got all these Woj credentials from the draft where Wemby was taken for $350.
Is that the cheapest thing?
First of all, should we have been keeping all of our credentials? I throw them out. Been to 12 Super Bowls. Been lucky enough to do that.
You've been throwing them out?
I've been throwing them away.
You don't keep anything?
I actually do. I have literally our last credential just because I haven't thrown it away from New Orleans.
I have some like firsts. I don't keep every credential, but I have the one like from the net game I did last year. I have my Super Bowl one. I have like a Ranger playoff one. I have a couple.
I will auction off this phone for the Andrew Perloff NIL fund. And I will auction off my work. I was going to say, you can sell your work ID because I could just get another one tomorrow. Anybody actually
Who wants to get in the building?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not going to get in the building. You're going to deactivate it. But should we sell these bad boys to raise money for the Maggie Perloff NIL fund?
Who would be the best person in your phone? Dan Patrick, Case Keenum?
No, I'm wiping the phone. I mean, just like
You just want the phone.
I have. Have you ever go? I have some weird celebrities in my phone. Probably from booking Dan Patrick show.
Yeah.
Or doing different things. So there's a lot of people there, but I cannot.
Give us a taste. Who's the most random person?
Name drop.
No, I'd have to go through it because I don't even know like really if I know these people. Like one thing I used to do, I used to run the celebrity NCAA tournament bracket for Dan Patrick show, and for some reason or other, I would get like Darius Rucker kind of names all the time. I don't have him right now.
You guys are legit friends, you and Darius.
No, I wouldn't go that far. No, he's very nice.
I watched it. I watched Darius Rucker from Hootie and the Blowfish come and give Perloff the biggest hug I've ever seen. I also had to vouch for Perloff yesterday on the phone. He's like, can you talk to my daughter and tell her I actually do know Brooklyn Decker?
Well, yeah. Yeah, so
I was
we're
like,
watching.
Lucy, your
Just
dad
go with
knows
it.
Brooklyn Decker.
Just go with it, where Brooklyn Decker is a romantic rival with Jennifer Aniston. Funny movie, by the way. And I'm like, oh, I've been friends with Brooklyn forever. And my daughter's like, you're lying. I'm like, no. And Maggie, you have been too. She's the nicest person in the world, and we both knew her at SI.
It was just funny because I was like, can you vouch for me? And I'm like, I actually can. Your dad literally is hanging out with Brooklyn Decker and Andy Roddick. I've witnessed it with my own eyes. He's cool. Against all odds.
God, now you're putting up Maggie. Who do you have? And Bogusch, who do you have? I know I've butt dialed Gruden before. That is a very awkward thing.
I feel like he would be someone who butt dials people.
Yeah, no, I know. That's
Wait, John or Jay?
No, I ended up having a long conversation with him. Don't get me wrong. Got my guy Andy Dalton, of course. I'm in the D's. Landon Donovan, D. Josh Duhamel,
American hero.
Josh Duhamel, the actor, hunk.
Different
D.
type of hero.
Again, this is all really from the Dan Patrick Show Celebrity Bracket Tournament. Howard Eskin? No.
Spike's ad?
Yeah. Come on, Maggie, your phone is ridiculous. I've seen that before. You got way better than me. Oh, Leslie Frazier, we both have. Lovely man, former Buffalo Bills defensive coordinator.
Yeah, still not quite sure what happened there.
I've got Andrew Perloff.
Auction it, man. Putabounty.com.
Some guy named Zachary Gelb. Does that count?
It's in there as Zachary?
No. It's
Okay, good.
In there as Zach. Does anyone call, host of the afternoon show Zachary? Help me out. I'm dying here. I'm dying.
I have the most famous person that would answer a call from me is Tiki Barber. But I have a lot of numbers in my phone.
Yeah.
Especially I have a lot of media nerd numbers. Like I have Mike Breen, Ian Eagle, like those guys.
Yeah.
And I also have a batch of numbers in 2003. Somebody at the AP office accidentally published their directory. One night I was sitting at work at ABC Radio and the printer started going. And it was 35 pages of all of their phone numbers.
Oh, geez.
So I have a number for Michael Jordan. I have a number for Wayne Gretzky, but I don't. But they're.
Have you ever tried them?
People try them so much then that most people had to change their numbers.
Yeah.
Because nobody believed it, and everyone started to just call these numbers to confirm that they were real. So I think most of the information that was on there has been changed over the last 2 decades.
Honestly, I think that would be the most annoying part about being a celebrity, besides everyone in your friends and family probably trying to mooch money off of you. The second thing would be the frequency with which you'd have to change your phone number.
Yep.
Yeah.
That would be super annoying.
I give credit to one of my friends that I grew up with, Josiah Gray. He's had the same number since high school, and he's now
running back?
the pitcher for the Washington Nationals.
Oh, sorry. Who am I thinking of? Different Gray.
I mean, he hasn't changed his number, and
Jonas
I'm
Gray.
kind of surprised. I'm kind of surprised he hasn't.
Good for him.
I have a ton of backup quarterbacks for some reason, like the Brian
know
Hoyer.
For some reason.
But
They're your people.
I have Tom Brady.
Stalker.
Do you have Tom Brady's number?
Tom Brady, the NFL vice president of media content. There's another Tom Brady.
That's like the other Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Dang it, you took my joke.
Oh,
Is that the
sorry.
Michigan
And the
one?
other Randy Moss. I do have Cato Kalin. That's the best one in here.
Whoa.
Yeah. Who's actually
Infamous.
a fantastically nice guy. I have someone here named.
Is. How is he mooching off of OJ?
I have someone here named Steve Martin, but I don't think it's the real Steve Martin.
I think it's someone in IT.
Yes, Steve Martin at DirecTV.com. Does Steve Martin, the comedian, have that?
That's actually Steve and Martin. He actually just merged them by mistake. Those are two different dudes.
Yes, because sometimes my phone takes the contacts of the company too. I have so many bizarre names in here. We got to do this for YouTube, Maggie. I've seen your phone. Sometimes, by the way, I get TikTok notifications for people that are in your contact list. It's the weirdest thing. I'm like, wow, Antonio Pierce is in Maggie's contact list.
Wait, your phone tells you that Antonio Pierce,
Yes,
who's in Maggie's phone, is on TikTok?
Our TikToks are all tied in together, and it does act. Somebody allowed their contacts into the list. Yes, I'm being dead serious.
That's weird.
I don't even have a TikTok.
Do you think your phone, though, Pearl, is worth $1,000, which is what the highest offer is right now for the iPhone used for farewell tweet and the final NBA draft for Woj?
Well, I have an iPhone 14. I think if anyone bought it, they would just wipe it and use it as a regular phone.
Wait, that's the Woj? Yeah, that's the worst phone, probably. The farewell tweet.
Oh,
that's the cheapest phone that is available on putabounty.com.
I have such a great backup quarterback that just came up. Nate Peterman is in here, baby.
Bills legend.
I'm going to take your phone and throw it in the ocean.
I have
just
so
for having
many
his
backup
number.
quarter. I literally have 28 of the 32 backup quarterbacks in the NFL are in my phone. This is amazing.
There's a game to be played with that. So I don't know what it is yet, but all those backup quarterbacks, there's something we could do with that.
Yeah, definitely.
There's something there. Good call, Ray.
Maybe the best I could do is people who have the same names as celebrities. That's what I got for you. That's the biggest thing.
By the way, the cheapest thing on this putabounty.com, $405 for his 2023 NBA All-Star credential. $405 bucks.
That was like the worst All-Star game in the history of All-Star games. Almost blew the entire weekend off the planet. Who would want that?
You know who might? Meg Ryan, but she's in my phone.
Oh, whoa.
It's not the Meg Ryan.
I was going to say it's actually someone
Meg
in HR at DirecTV, but sure.
Oh, this is so sad.
The descriptions of these phones is remarkable on this website.
This is Woj, by the way, who's auctioning off his memorabilia to help the St. Bonaventure NIL collective.
Woj used this iPhone XR from 2018 to 2019 to discover and announce major NBA news, including Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving teaming up in Brooklyn, Anthony Davis joining LeBron James in Los Angeles, and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard both landing with the Clippers, parentheses, just moments apart around 2 a.m.
Close parentheses.
The item can be autographed and inscribed by Woj upon request.
But, like, it's so funny because there's nothing there anymore. It's just the vehicle. Like, would you go to...
Now, it doesn't say that it's been erased. Wouldn't you think it should say that it's been cleaned?
No, because they're trying to maybe, sucker somebody in. But imagine, like, say we take this to a different line of work. Say it's like Guy Fieri. Do you want the pots and pans that he used to cook some kind of dish? Like, who cares?
It's kind of interesting memorabilia. If you have you take the phone, maybe put it in a frame. It's not the worst thing I ever heard.
Can I tell you a collectibles story? I know we're kind of far off here. We got to get to some headlines, and we've got this quarterback competition that we didn't see coming. We'll get to that in a minute. The Victor Wembanyama collectibles market apparently is cratering because of his latest injury. And Wemby had been like the number one card, and his jersey. This stuff was selling for six figures, like $350,000 for a Wemby jersey. The cards were out of control, $600,000 for some of this Wemby stuff. It was the number one thing to buy, even beyond Michael Jordan and everything, Michael Jordan cards and all the historical stuff. And now it's in danger of bottoming out because we're not sure about these blood clots and Wemby and his future.
Let's start buying some Wemby merch.
Now's the time. Apparently, the Zion stuff, like, cratered, too. So Zion, once upon a time, Zion Williamson, was, like, the number one card and collectible that you could possibly get. And now you can buy one of his cards for, like, $70.
Yeah.
I mean...
why don't we call up my friend Jack White is in here?
Wow.
The musician. But he's got a weird address. It almost seems as if he also worked at AT&T. It might be another Jack White. Yeah.
Wait, Jack White from, what is it, not the Strokes? From
Jack White from White Stripes.
White Stripes,
No, but I think it's Jack White from marketing. I'm being dead serious. I remember this guy. He helped put together a sponsorship thing with one of the sports books.
Jack White from DraftKings.
This is a fun game because I have a million numbers in here of people have the same name as famous people. Would you, if you had a famous person name, would you change it?
Depends.
If your name was George Clooney, would you go around saying George Clooney?
You would be so disappointed.
Also in my phone, also not the George Clooney.
I don't know. For women, is this a little bit different? I wouldn't want to be like, I know
Jennifer Aniston.
She was brought up on the show yesterday, like Kate Upton, because then every time people are just going to have such a disappointed look the moment you walk through the door.
A friend of mine from high school was raised by a Michael Jordan.
The dad was Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Pops was Michael Jordan. Shout out to Liv.
Yeah, that's actually a fairly common name, Michael Jordan.
Yeah, of course. But no, this is like all the Kobes that we have now. The other Kobe Bryant.
Yep. All the Jalen's that we have as well.
Jalen's are everywhere.
Jalen's everywhere, but you need the last name too to really
fair
make
enough.
it work.
Sorry, we've killed your update. But the one thing that the most shocking thing to me and that I've never believed since we started doing the show is that Jalen Rose was the first Jalen, but it has not been disproved.
No.
It really has not. It's true. Is it true?
He says it's true. It's his word versus nobody.
I can't find an older Jalen. I'd have looked. Trust me. I spent many hours researching this topic.
Directories and lists.
That's what he did in Costa Rica.
Because it seems like such a normal name. Like Jalen does not seem like a wild name, and he's not that old. So it wasn't around before Jalen Rose.
I don't know. I mean, there's new names now. Do you know any other DeBrickashaws? Like, there's other new names are popping up all over
but everybody's named Jalen. There's only one DeBrickashaw.
Yeah, it's funny. That one never caught on, except for the owner of the
Thankfully.
Jets, his son, Brick.
Well, right. And of course, you're referring. Key and Peele started the whole thing because of DeBrickashaw Ferguson.
Yeah, they did.
When Key came in and said, I was watching a football game. There's a man named DeBrickashaw.
Yeah, it's from Long Island. 855-212-4227. Bogusch, hang around, will you? Be a pal. Let's get to some headlines. We had a big basketball game last night. Luka Dončić facing his former team. We'll tell you about it.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Oh, that's nice for Bogusch sticking around for this segment because we blew through his update in the last segment talking about Adrian Wojnarowski's auctioning off personal items to raise money for the basketball team that he's the general manager of. That would be the St. Bonaventure Bonnies.
I tell you once again, inspired. We have to do the same thing. We should all auction off our phones, and keep the. I mean, listen.
Who gets me my new phone then?
You could get this bad boy and call up Dean Blandino anytime you want.
You got a problem with a call made on the
Just
field?
text
It's
Dino.
not pass interference, Dean.
That was a hold.
Yeah. Illegal procedure, my butt. Yeah.
Ban the tush push. Although I don't think he has anything to do with that, unfortunately. All right, folks, what happened yesterday?
We had Luka Dončić seeing the Mavs for the first time last night. A 107-99 Laker win in L.A. Luka posting 19 points, 15 rebounds, and 12 assists. LeBron has done these reunions before.
When you move on or they move on from you, it's very emotional, obviously. It's very taxing, and, you know, it's probably a lot of things that was going on in his head that probably didn't even involve the game itself, you know. So, and with that said, I thought he handled it tremendously.
Bron scored 16 of his 27 in the fourth quarter to help the Lakers get that win. The Hornets were 128-92 losers at the Warriors the night after a 42-point drubbing in Sacramento. The Bucks' 4-game win streak ended in Houston 100-97, and the Pelicans got a 2-game sweep of the Spurs 109-103. Zion 18 points and 6 rebounds. Diana Taurasi called it a career yesterday, saying she just didn't have a 21st WNBA season in her. Taurasi is the league's all-time leading scorer, a 3-time champion, 14-time All-Star, not to mention 6 Olympic gold medals. Go. Second-ranked Duke, a 97-60 road rout of Miami. Cooper Flagg, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Number 5, Tennessee, a 65-59 win at LSU. But third-ranked Florida losing at Georgia, 88-83, despite erasing a 26-point first-half hole. And Alex Ovechkin scored the Capitals' lone goal in a 3-1 home loss to the Flames. That's 883 for his career, now 12 away from passing Wayne Gretzky for the most all-time. The NHL announcing yesterday they started to move some games where they think he's going to break the record onto national TV, so you can see it from wherever it happens.
This is a bigger deal to me than LeBron, in a sense.
Passing the all-time scoring
Kareem.
record?
Yeah, I don't know why, because when we were growing up,
that's pretty interesting.
like the great one was so untouchable.
Yeah.
Like it's like Jerry Rice's receiving numbers. Like it was so untouchable. Where I didn't think of the Kareem record the same way. It just there was something about Gretzky's records that seemed on Mount Olympus.
Yeah, I know. I think you're right. I think you're actually right. And also, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar maybe could be a top 5 player, top 7, wherever you put Kareem. But there's no doubt that Gretzky's won.
Right.
So like LeBron passing Kareem, it's like he's a better. LeBron will go down in history as the better player than Kareem, right? So he'll be like higher on these like power rankings.
I mean, Kareem could be 3. But
Kareem could be 3. I'm not saying that Kareem. I'm not trying to dunk on Kareem here. I'm just saying.
But he's not number 1.
He's not 1.
Yeah.
Gretzky is 1. No one ever thinks Ovechkin is going to be 1 over Gretzky.
Well, also too, Karl Malone is 3. That kind of guts it a little bit, right?
Listen, Malone is a great player. I know.
Yeah, but I mean,
revisionist
just like
history has been not kind to Karl Malone. He was a great player.
He was a great player, but he's not all time. Like he's not top 10 player of all time. No way.
No, and I don't think
he never even won a title.
Never like
well, a lot
really,
of guys didn't win a title because of Jordan.
Yeah, and like the NBA just didn't care about those numbers. Like I mean, I knew Kareem was number 1, but I couldn't have even gotten the ballpark of what the number was.
38,300.
Thanks, loser. And then like rebounds, assists. Like I don't like. I just that's not how the NBA works, right?
38,387.
You're looking
that was
at
the record.
Is Ovechkin get into this number a compiler situation? Or has he stuck around too long? Or is it just?
Is it crazy hot right now?
I mean, the fact that he's gonna. We didn't think he'd do this season, and he's like, it's hat trick after hat trick. It's been.
It's
amazing.
inconceivable. It just really
But
is.
no one's gonna put him over Gretzky, even with this record.
No. No, that's not even a conversation.
So that's why I think to Perloff's point, though, it does kind of feel a little bit bigger because of who he's passing on the all-time list.
And all-time NFL records have become irrelevant because the game changed so much. That's the other thing. Hockey hasn't changed so much.
Well, hockey has changed a lot.
Are goals way up?
Yeah.
No, they're down from what they used to be.
Oh.
I mean, they were up really they went super high for Gretzky where they changed rules. They brought them back down. They disappeared in like the late 90s, 2000 with all those crazy Devils teams.
Yeah.
So they're back up from there, but they're not like at the historical like shootouts of the 80s.
Right, where football numbers are way elevated. Like receiving numbers are twice as much as they used to be. So the numbers don't mean as much to us. And basketball has been up and down. In the 80s, you scored at will.
Yeah, now the three-point revolution, it's like more about that.
Yeah, I'd say points are high right now, but they're not at all-time high.
I was thinking about hockey, like, they've made the goalie pads smaller, and they've done other things to try to beef scoring up. But you're right, that's probably since, like, the early aughts. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and goalies are still wearing, like, abnormally too much. Like, you take a goalie out of his uniform, he looks like me, and then he's in the net covering up the whole thing like a larger human being whose name I'm not going to say out loud.
Bogusch, thank you. 855-212-4227. Okay, the quarterback competition that nobody saw coming, and it is Wednesday, which means it's time for the great debate. MMP.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Fun game last night. Lakers take care of the Mavericks in a little Luka Dončić mini revenge tour. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. But they're not the only team, Pearl, that is surging post the trade deadline. The Lakers, clearly with the Luka trade, but also the Golden State Warriors, now with Jimmy Butler playing defense with Draymond Green, has unlocked another level to Golden State. So we're asking you today, who do you trust more to make a run to the finals? Would it be the Lakers or would it be the Warriors?
It's so funny, too, because it is very hard to figure out the NBA because who the Warriors beat last night?
The Hornets. That was
I know. That's
but they beat the Mavs not that long ago.
Yeah, the Warriors actually have a pretty easy schedule coming up, so they could make up some ground. I think the Lakers, because their defense has been so fantastic, even before Luka got there. You know what? The sea change to me in the NBA, and I heard a great quote from DeMarcus Cousins about this the other day. Like, you do not need a big man to be good at defense. You need a Lou Dort type. So DeMarcus Cousins was outright laughing out loud at the Rudy Gobert Defensive Player of the Year. The people who vote on NBA awards don't understand the first thing about basketball for some reason. Rudy Gobert is a gigantic defensive problem.
Yeah.
Like, you bring him out top and your team is cooked, and he keeps winning Defensive Player of the Year. Cousins is like the new NBA. You need 6-7 guys who can cover on the wing. And that's what the Lakers have with like guys like Jared Vanderbilt. That's what the Warriors now have with Jimmy Butler. So I think they're both actually in the mix, but I would lean Lakers. I mean, come on, LeBron and Luka. It's a little more attractive to me than Jimmy and Steph.
It is working out really well with LeBron and Luka. I mean, first couple games a little bit dicey, but what we saw last night was, first of all, this sort of inside-outside game where like Luka's lobbing the ball into LeBron, who's like yamming home these dunks that I don't know how he still does this at 40, but he's a force. And Luka came out really strong in this game, and you could tell there was an emotional aspect to it, no doubt. And LeBron kind of took him home in the fourth quarter. And I don't know if that's your recipe where Luka's conditioning may not have to get to, tip-top shape if LeBron is there to pick things up in the fourth quarter. And he was. Now, again, they're playing against a shorthanded Mavericks team, and it just made the trade look even worse because...
there's nothing... It's dead already. They should fire him like now, I think.
Well, the only thing is Nico Collins... He's definitely
Nico
getting
Harris, right?
Nico Harris. Excuse me. Nico Collins is safe. He plays wide receiver for the Houston Texans. He's fine. Nico Harrison, the GM for the Mavs. The question is, was it ownership that really didn't want to pay Luka? Because if he's actually covering for ownership, who's like, you know what, we don't want to pay $350 million to one player because we're actually in it for gambling, and we're actually casino magnates that are posing as sports owners, but our whole thing is actually just to get sports betting and build casinos in the state of Texas, then they don't want to spend the $350, then they can't. Firing Nico Harrison, if you ordered the code red, doesn't seem right.
Right, but you should have gotten more for him.
Oh, well, definitely. I mean, yeah,
That
but
part
they had
alone.
to keep it so quiet. I'm not defending Nico Harrison. I'm
Yeah.
just saying I think that ownership's hands are very dirty. here.
That could be true. But even that being said, like they got to get a. Do they want to lose though? That doesn't make any sense. Like, why would losing help you build all these casinos?
I think they think they can be a fringe playoff. Half the league makes the playoffs. They probably believe, listen, we can be a playoff team.
Yeah.
We might not be a title contender necessarily, but we can be a playoff team. We can keep our fan base engaged and also have, gain outsized influence in the state of Texas, use the team as a way to throw our weight around,
Right,
and
but-
try to get this legislation passed where they can get to the real golden goose, which is the casinos.
But wouldn't having your team be good be the best way to do that? Like the Mets, Steve Cohen wants to build a casino in Queens, and he's putting more money into because he wants to win because he thinks it'll help everything. Why would the Mavs be like, let's stink and therefore get the casino? It makes no sense.
Well, I don't know if they think they're going to stink. That's the thing. I think
Well,
there's a middle ground of mediocrity / you can pretend like you're going for it without paying $350 million to one guy.
There's a salary floor in the NBA. I don't think it's like that. Their salaries not are going to end up being that different. Yeah, I know about the aprons and stuff. That being said, like I think this guy thought he could win with Anthony Davis or Kyrie Irving. And I think that was a terrible miscalculation.
Terrible. 855-212-4227. You can also vote on our poll at Maggie and Pearl on X. Who do you trust more to make a finals run? Would it be the Lakers or the Warriors? Now, the entire NFL world is at the scouting combine in Indianapolis. And I'm going to be, totally honest with you as I recover from my cold.
Yeah.
Totally honest with you. I did not see this team having a quarterback competition. And usually, Pearl, these GMs and coaches say absolutely nothing at the podium. But hold my beer, Chris Ballard from the Indianapolis Colts, who steps to the podium and says the Colts will be having an open QB competition.
We drafted Anthony high knowing it was going to take some time, all right? And we knew there's going to be some hiccups along the way. And it's I know we all want a finished product right now. I do. You do, fans do, we all do. But I think as he continues to progress in his young career, us adding competition, I think will help up everybody's game.
Wow.
Wait, I don't
this is
understand.
a bad sign.
You're shocked about this? How can you be shocked about this? He got benched last year.
No, I understand he got benched because he took himself out of a game.
And he stinks. Well, his
Well-
numbers stink. I'm a huge fan, but he's the worst statistical quarterback we've seen in 35 years of football.
No, I get it. The 8 touchdowns, the 12 picks.
No,
Like
look at the percentage.
I know, Perloff. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
This is a terrible sign because it means two things. This is a guy you drafted 2 years ago with the 4th overall pick. And you knew that he was raw coming out of Florida, but you're now 2 years in. I know he got hurt the first year, but you're 2 years into this thing. Year 3 is where he could, in theory, make a lot of improvements. You got an offensive-minded head coach, came from the Philadelphia Eagles. You set everything up for this dude. So you're going to bring in a quarterback competition, which means, A, he's not the guy, and you're already going to abandon ship on the 4th overall pick. So basically kiss all of your jobs goodbye, pending a miracle.
Well, Chris Ballard is Teflon, but go ahead.
And 2, or Anthony Richardson needs the competition to light a fire under his butt. And that is also a terrible situation because year 3 with a quarterback taking top 5, Pearl, they should be taking ownership of not just their own careers, the whole team. Joe Burrow year 3, Josh Allen year 3, Lamar Jackson's winning MVPs. You know, I'm talking about the guys that at least there should be no thought whatsoever that that you need somebody to push you. You need footsteps behind you to actually get the most. Like, this is bad.
I think a bigger surprise is that he would be starting because he had a 47.7 completion percentage last year. So that the side is not them going over the podium. I think most teams would have moved on already.
It's 2 years.
47.7%.
You drafted him top 4. Even the Jets hadn't moved on from Zach Wilson at that point. I mean, you're really you knew the guy was a project. You know he's raw.
Right.
And then you're going to pull the ripcord after 2 years.
Yeah,
that's a disaster, dude.
Well, yeah. I mean, it already is that. I mean, the Panthers pulled the ripcord on Bryce really fast. And then they brought him back in.
Yeah,
But
no.
they benched him, one game into his second season?
No, but look what happened, though. He got benched. Andy Dalton takes over. Andy gets in a car accident. Thankfully, he's fine. Bryce comes back in, but look what happened. He actually played better.
But, I mean, first of all, let's see. The Panthers have not won a lot of football games. But, yeah, I mean, Anthony Richardson is obviously not working.
You think it's over?
No, I mean, I personally the only reason I like Anthony Richardson is because he's such a highlight player. But I keep going to this clip. After a game against the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell says, I know everyone doesn't understand you, but you are going to be a star in this NFL. And I love Kevin O'Connell. So therefore, there's something there. But the problem with the Colts is not that Anthony Richardson is not good, is that he's 22 and they have to make a decision on his contract long before he's ready. As Chris Ballard said, it's going to take 5 years to figure out if this guy's an NFL quarterback. He's 2 years younger than some of the guys in this draft. So the timing it's a disaster for the Colts.
Yep.
And I think it's a good warning. Don't draft a 20-year-old project because you're going to have to decide on his contract before he reaches maturity. And Richardson clearly has not reached maturity. So I'm not surprised at all they're bringing in competition. I would be surprised if they didn't. They're obviously not going to go with Anthony Richardson and no backup. They brought in, it was Minshew last year, right?
No, 2 years ago. It was Flacco.
Flacco, they got to have a veteran behind him, right? Also, he's kind of injury prone because he runs so much.
Well, I think it's somebody not like Flacco. I think they're going to bring in somebody who's going to actually beat him in the competition. Flacco is that's a safety net. Gardner Minshew's a safety net. You don't think he's actually going to win the job out of camp. You keep that guy on ice just in case dude gets hurt. I think they're going to bring in somebody and that person's going to win the job. Again, I did not think they were going to go quarterback competition because you draft the guy so high. I assume your jobs are attached to this. You got to make sure that he develops, and the only way you do that is by playing games. Not now.
So
are they in it for Cousins? Are they in for Aaron Rodgers? What?
I don't know. They're going to bring in a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, and they might win the division. And I don't want to disrespect the Texans. They're good, but I mean, it is the AFC South.
It's so funny. I think of Shane Steichen from the Eagles, right? He was offense coordinator for the Eagles. He had Jalen Hurts, and he maximized Jalen Hurts. He loves a quarterback who can get out of trouble to protect his offensive line. I think of him as a mobile quarterback guy. That's why, Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins feel nothing like what the Eagles had with Jalen Hurts. It just doesn't fit in my mind what Steichen wants to run.
Well, Joe Flacco isn't exactly Mr. Wheels.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I just don't, I can't see the Shane Steichen Aaron Rodgers marriage just seems funny to me. All of a sudden, I don't know if the system is close to something Rodgers has run. Steichen's going to teach Rodgers his offense next year in Indianapolis. That's kind of why I was and they'll be okay, and it is indoors. Maybe you actually are selling me a little bit on this, but if you go with Rodgers, obviously, then Richardson's a deep backup. You're putting all your eggs in the Rodgers basket. The question is Cousins. Kirk Cousins and Anthony Richardson are the exact opposite quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins, 2 years off an Achilles tear, can't move away from me. And then you have Anthony Richardson, who is 22-year-old and runs everywhere. It's just such an odd competition, right? Does that make any sense?
Well, I don't know. I mean, teams have different philosophies on backups. Sometimes your backup is the polar opposite of your starter, so that if he has to come in, then the defenses are all caught off guard, and it's a different thing. And sometimes your backup is a carbon copy.
But how do you do the
facsimile of your starter?
How do you do a training camp competition between Kirk Cousins and Anthony Richardson? Presumably, you have two completely different offenses for both of them.
I think it's probably if you're thinking Richardson is not the dude. Again,
which he clearly is not. I mean, he's been terrible, but it's funny. He's still going to win a lot of games.
855-212-4227. I mean, what a disaster. On the flip side, we're asking you about good things in the NBA, which is the Luka Dončić Lakers and the now Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry Warriors. Who do you trust can get to the finals? Tyler's in Portland. Good morning, Tyler.
Hey, good morning, Maggie. Hey, so a couple months ago, I heard you guys talking about the Sonic Boom alarm clock. So I went out and bought one. Just for my wife. So the other day I set it for 3:30 in the morning and I plugged it in and wired it to the wall behind the headboard. Dude, it was priceless. She jumped out of bed, scrubs going. That thing is so loud. So I want to say thank you very much.
Wait a minute. Hold on, Tyler. Do you generally prank your wife like this? Do you guys have that kind of relationship?
Yeah, she knows who she married. Let's put it that way.
What do you like? Whoopee cushions stored around the house and short sheet of the bed?
No, we're kind of more darker than that. I don't know. For instance, I was going in for surgery, and they had to put me out. So before I got put out, my wife was asking if maybe I couldn't wake up, that kind of thing. Just a real tongue-in-cheek relationship.
Wow.
That's love.
Yeah. It is.
You
Yeah,
guys, what?
96 for high school sweethearts.
Listen, way to keep it interesting. What a prank. Yeah. Your wife asking the doctor if you're not going to wake up from your surgery. What a gag. I'm glad the sonic boom worked, and hopefully her nerves have calmed down a little bit.
So I missed this show. What is a sonic boom alarm? I've never heard of it.
It's just an extra loud alarm clock. I don't know what we were talking about that day. It must have been sleeping through your alarm clock. Yeah.
So the last thing was about the Mavericks. I mean, how do we know this isn't a new swing, and this is how owners are going to get out of paying supermax deals?
By trading away their generational talents?
Well, I understand that, but, it is a team sport. I know basketball is a one-on-one, one person can make more difference in basketball than I think almost any other sport. But, I mean, if you are all wrapped up into one guy opposed to 3 or 4 guys, I think a team can still win the championship. That's all.
So you kind of understand where the Mavs were. You kind of understand where the Mavs were coming from.
I absolutely do. But if we see this as a newer trend, if owners start doing it, then I think, it's the way of getting out of way of paying hundreds of millions of dollars.
Tyler, thank you for the phone call. I don't know if I could have a relationship with my husband where we prank each other all the time. That's not our dynamic. But I love people who do that. I've seen couples like that on Instagram and TikTok and stuff, and it does seem pretty fun. Listen, you're an NBA owner, you're going to end up spending a lot no matter what, but there is a difference. Like the Detroit Pistons right now have the lowest salary in the NBA at $140 million all in, whereas the Phoenix Suns payroll is $220 million.
That's $80 million.
It's a difference, dude.
That is pretty small. I mean,
if that's $80 million in your pocket as an owner, it probably doesn't feel that small.
I don't know.
Not all these guys
I thought
are
you were going to give me what baseball feels a little wider rift, right?
Totally. Well, baseball's kind of an abomination in some ways where teams can spend $40 million on a roster.
I mean, that's ridiculous. If $80 million, because you just did a $2 billion TV deal. Why on earth would you care about that money?
Some teams aren't well run, dude.
I don't think. I think Nico Harrison thought he was winning with this team. I think he did it more for basketball than people think. I don't think it was just about money. I think he thought, oh man, Anthony Davis is awesome. We can be like the Lakers in 2020. I really think there was more basketball thought into this than money thought.
Yeah, and the fact that he didn't factor in Anthony Davis's injury history means that he needs his head examined. Mm-hmm. And I'll disagree. I think it's always about the money. Like in this instance, I definitely think that played a part. Mary is in San Francisco, wants to talk about her Dubs. Mary, do you trust the Warriors to make a finals run?
Hi, Maggie. I do. And talent notwithstanding, what Jimmy Buckets has brought to the cohesion, I recognize it. I recognize the spark that has been missing, the one Draymond addressed last week on his podcast. Also, as a fan, for me, I have to have 100% belief. It's the best way to be a fan. 100% belief until it's completely mathematically impossible.
Mary, love that. And, you've seen a lot of winning in the Bay Area, so there's no reason not to believe. Yep. And thank you for the phone call. Appreciate the perspective. Not all fans are like Mary. I think there are a lot of fans who are the opposite of Mary, who she says she believes up until they're mathematically eliminated. I think there's a lot of fans who won't believe it, don't want to believe it until, it's stared up in the face.
I lost my belief on my team this weekend. Can't beat the Celtics, can't beat the Cavs. I mean, what are we, in late February, and I've already lost faith, so I mean.
The Knicks are frauds, man.
I've never seen a bandwagon empty faster than the Knicks. And I know you guys aren't bandwagoners, but it is just insane. You guys lost a couple games in February. We have months until the playoffs. Everyone is like, this team sucks. It's a college team.
Yeah, but this was the litmus test.
Well, I mean, also, too, like the Warriors have had 4 rings, and of course Mary believes. But why would these guys believe? Like, it makes there's nothing to believe in.
Wow.
I mean, is Bill Bradley still in the house? Like,
well,
that's what I'm saying, man.
But here's the thing. Like, everyone's so high, especially around here, everyone's so high on the Knicks. Look at how they built the team, and they're back, and and Bridges is the last piece of the puzzle. You lose 2 games, and everyone's like, the sky is falling.
Because they can beat the bad teams. They got to beat a good team eventually.
Manny, the NBA regular season is not the end all be all.
0-7 against the top teams in the league is a pretty loud number.
I know, but you know what? Here's the thing. You should be more concerned that last year they ran out of gas so badly they couldn't beat the Pacers. That's what you should be concerned about. Not that they can't beat the Cavs in February.
I don't know if they lost gas. They got hurt. That's the reason that they lost to the Pacers.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that they
But
ran
were
out
they
of
hurt
gas.
because of the usage?
A combination of things.
Yeah.
I think, by the way, it's funny to me that the 2 best teams in the league all of a sudden in the East. Like, what happened there?
Cavs are awesome.
Yeah, the Cavs
so
are
good.
amazing.
They
and
don't
the
miss
Celtics
from
are,
behind the arc.
What's that?
They don't miss from behind the arc.
Yeah.
The Cavs. It's incredible.
Feels like Mitchell's on a mission too. And but I mean, is it fair to say the Knicks all of a sudden, like the Knicks? I kind of thought they might get the finals because the East stinks. Boston's probably going to have a hangover, and all of a sudden, like, ooh, geez, what happened there?
No way. We're destined for Cavs Celtics in the Eastern Finals.
And that team probably wins the finals.
Oh, that's interesting.
Probably.
I mean, they're heavy favorites.
And they're more battle tested as well than some of the other teams in the Western Conference.
I don't know.
Except
the
for
West
maybe
is
the Nuggets.
Pretty crazy.
The West is that's a funny thing too. But like, can any of those teams match up with the Celtics? Probably not.
Do you trust OKC to win a championship?
They're
right
young.
now?
They're still young. Yeah.
And the Lakers are old.
So are the Warriors.
And the Cavs and the Celtics are just right.
Right.
855-212-4227. So we're asking you, who do you trust more to make a finals run? Is it I almost said the Cavaliers. Is it the Lakers now with Luka, or is it the Warriors now with Jimmy Butler? 855-212-4227. We've got so much more for you from the NFL Scouting Combine, and it is Wednesday, which means we will do the great debate at the top of the hour.
You're in a 5-minute break.
I think I have one read.
Bailey's in the truck, flowing up, dog, saying my streets. Now Bailey rode into town with suspicion in his eyes, saying Kaplan's got a secret and he's hiding it inside. Zach Jobs lost in darkness, Ryan Stream's a mess, Chavelle Wolf's just a spinning wheel. Oh Lord, what a distress. But Maggie and Perloff, they shine so bright, like a star in the desert on a Texas night. Daily says it's shady, but I swear on my name, I just push the buttons, I don't play no games. Now Peter Bellotti, well he don't show, and that man's supposed to be running this show. If there's a tech problem, don't look at me. Ask the guy who's missing more than Tennessee tea. So Davey, my friend, don't spread that lie. I ain't no bandit, I just make strings fly. But Maggie and Perloff, they shine so bright, like a star in the desert on a Texas night. Daily says it's shady, but I swear on my name, I just push the buttons, I don't play no games. Now Peter Bellotti, well he don't show, and that man's supposed to be running this show. If there's a tech problem, don't look at me. Ask the guy who's missing more than Tennessee tea. So, Debbie, my friend, don't spread that lie. I ain't no bandit, I just make strings fly. Maggie and Perloff, they shine so bright, like a star in the desert on a Texas night. Bailey says it's shady, but I swear on my name, I just push the buttons, I don't play no games. Oh, don't play no games. Oh, babe, my friend, don't.
1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. We've lost Maggie temporarily. She's watching a live stream of a bald eagle sitting on 2 eggs and a baby.
Yeah, the baby hatch. This is down the street from my house. I told you guys, I live in New Jersey, but I live like in the sticks. It's not like Newark Airport. I live out like way out. And so there's a farm down the road, and they've had this bald eagle cam with this bald eagle in a nest for weeks, waiting for these 3 eggs that this bird's been sitting on to hatch. And yesterday, Bogusch, maybe they should name it after you. It was your birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, one of the eggs hatched, and
We'll call it loser.
Manny, there's
Learn to read yet or no?
Nope.
Okay.
there's putabounty.com, Manny. There's somehow. Okay, so this is the biggest mystery. So one of the eggs hatched. So there's like a baby bird in there, and she's sitting on 2 of the eggs, and she'll roll over to try to like help the eggs hatch. Apparently, I read that on the blog. But here's my question: there's 2 dead fish in the nest. How did those dead fish get there? Did she leave the eggs?
They flew.
But did she leave the eggs to go hunt for the fish? Or is there a partner? Or
Okay.
did the people at the farm maybe toss some like dead fish into the nest?
Well, I was wondering how they must have a system for this in nature. Otherwise, the eagles would not have evolved into what they are. I watch a lot of Hostile Planet on National Geographic.
Yeah.
And
I
there's-
knew you'd be good for this conversation.
In the Arctic, there's this one, I think they're actually eagles. They have a problem where their mom is with the babies, but she has to go down to the river to hunt.
Right.
So the babies have to learn to fly immediately, and they don't know how to fly, so they fall about a mile down and hit the ground at full strength.
A mile?
It's crazy. I'll send this clip to you. But the eagles' bodies are specifically designed to take this fall. They don't know. So basically, they got to get the babies down to the river so they can hunt together.
Oh, interesting.
But then there could be a male. Obviously there's a system. That's so disappointing to me if somebody put dead fish in there. Like, let nature take its
Tossed a
course.
couple. Well, here's the thing. I would wonder if someone interferes, if human interferes,
Yeah.
and threw a couple dead fish into the bald eagle's nest, which is what I'm watching on a live stream, and I become obsessed with it. Does the eagle then get spooked and leave and abandon the baby and abandon the eggs because they don't know that this isn't like a predator, this isn't a sign of bad things. So I don't think humans can interfere beyond whoever set this camera up.
It's a gorgeous animal, too.
So we have
Unbelievable.
something called a raptor trust near our house, which is like where they house these birds of prey.
Well, so if you have a little dog in your neighborhood, say goodbye to Fifi.
Dude, there are some hawks
Yeah.
that go around our hood that are just bananas. their wingspan. I'm like, what's that shadow? It's like, is that a pterodactyl?
Oh, it's
I'm
so
being
cool.
hunted right now.
So cool. By the way, in our neighborhood, they send out falcons in the morning to hunt rats.
Yeah, very different.
Yeah, no, it's
Purpose.
awesome. There's a guy who comes out from the city, has a falcon on his arm, sends them out so they scare the rats away from all the parks.
Do they actually? Do they actually? Yeah. Do they actually kill the rats?
They probably kill some of them, but the rats probably try and get away. Like it might just scare them like a cat. But yeah, they definitely kill the rats. They eat rats all the time.
Where we go on the Jersey Shore every summer, they have a falcon person come, and the falcon will fly the boardwalk, and it scares the seagulls away.
Oh,
Otherwise,
awesome.
the seagulls there's like 50 of them floating around, waiting for hot dogs,
Yeah.
popcorn,
Ooh.
a French fry to fall, and they have a feeding
Delicious.
frenzy. So the falcon guy comes, it swoops around, blows the whistle, lands on his arm, no seagulls, and the falcon goes home.
Just so the saltwater taffy place doesn't have seagulls bother.
Yeah.
Seagulls are super annoying.
Terrible.
Very.
But like simultaneously dumb and smart because they stay away for like the rest of the day. But then like, oh, the sun's up, we can go back there, and then they get scared again by the falcon. Like it's not. It's like a daily Groundhog Day
It's
thing.
like 50 first dates.
They don't ever sign off on the boardwalk. They
Great
go back, get scared again, go back, get scared again.
Yeah, there's nothing cooler than birds of prey used for like basic cleaning techniques. This is great. I need one in my apartment.
This has been very educational. I didn't know about the great rivalries of rats and falcons and seagulls and falcons. This is great.
Ray, stick with us, man. You never know what you're going to learn. Meanwhile, I'm just glued to this bald eagle live stream.
Are you watching it right now?
I am. I can do multiple things. Like
I can't.
take a call from Russ in California. We're asking, are you more confident in the Lakers or the Warriors to make an NBA Finals run? Russ, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm more confident in the Lakers. They've got weapons. I'm talking about like triple-double potential weapons. I mean, you talk about Reeves, Dončić, and LeBron. They've got similar games. They're triple-double machines. And then you got Connect and Rui. These guys are weapons. You know, you pretty much got at least a couple weapons every minute of the game. And you got guys that can just hit the clutch shots when it matters. And, you know, I'm just saying they're just a deeper team.
You know, Russ, you're right about the weapons, but I'm picking the Warriors here, but I understand your thought process, and Perloff thinks it's the Lakers. But the Reeves, Dončić, LeBron James trifecta, not exactly your defensive Bermuda Triangle there. You know what I'm saying? Like Reeves is a defensive liability. LeBron can turn it up when it counts, and Dončić is obviously the defensive liability.
Yeah.
So these guys are awesome on one end, but on the other end, it can be lacking.
Yeah, but they've kind of figured it out. They bring in Dorian Finney-Smith and Jared Vanderbilt, who do nothing but defense. They're like, you know, Bruce Bowen types. I got to give J.J. Redick a lot of credit. All the numbers say they fixed their defense. Now, the question is what happens when they go against all those Thunder weapons? Everything you just said about the Lakers, you could say about the Oklahoma City Thunder, too. And, you know, the Nuggets are red hot, too. It's going to be a while. I cannot wait for the playoffs, and I cannot wait for the stupid regular season to be done.
Still got a while.
They have to cut that season from 82 games to 62 games so we can actually enjoy this.
Don't worry, but we're going to have March Madness is going to start soon. We'll get a total distraction. And then by the time we get done cutting down the nets, it's basically time for the playoffs.
Yeah. And the Western the more we talk about it, the Western Conference playoffs are going to be so epic this year. And then they'll probably lose to Boston. But anyway, it's all good.
We'll see. Joe's in L.A. Joe, what do you think? Lakers or Warriors?
Hey.
Who do you trust?
Well, let me tell you something. This is a fantastic show. I'm driving down to San Diego. It's 5:30 in the morning. I am a big talk show enthusiast, and this is one of the best conversations I have. I don't
It's
know
the
your
bald
name,
eagle stuff,
but-
right? Is it the bald eagle
not the
stuff?
bald eagle, but let me tell you what you said that you're right on, young lady, is that Luka's a generational player. And they traded him to Los Angeles, and there could be a major reason why they did that, because Adelson, who is now the major stakeholder in the Dallas Mavericks, no longer Mark Cuban, is a Vegas resident. Her husband has passed away, was a very big casino owner, very, very big into the Republican Party, a Trump supporter. And there's NBA basketball coming to Las Vegas. Who is going to be? We don't know. They're not going to start with a franchise team. There's a good possibility that they unloaded him because they're going to go ahead and force the the NBA to have pity on them when they go into the tank, and that'll give them enough reason for her to watch her Las Vegas team right inside the state. But let me share something else that you're talking about, and this is really important, what you mentioned. These contracts in the NBA, the guaranteed contracts are the kiss of death for the NBA. Look at the Embiid contract. Look at these contracts that are Rudy Gobert, 4 number ones for Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Look at the Bradley Beal contract in Phoenix, which it has totally, did I say totally? Totally decimated the Phoenix Suns.
The Bradley Beal contract was bad the day they put pen to paper. And the fact that he had the no trade clause that went from the old contract to the new contract just made it even worse. You know, Joe, you're not wrong about that. Some of these contracts are so big.
I got one question for you.
Sure.
If these general managers are so smart and these owners, the owner of the Phoenix Suns, how do they make such stupid deals?
Well, Joe, thank you for the phone call. I'm glad we could keep you company on your ride down to San Diego. I mean, the answer is just because you're smart in one business doesn't mean you're going to be smart in another. And the guy who owns the Phoenix Suns, Matt Ishbia, is a wizard if you need a mortgage. You need a mortgage? He's got you. But when it comes to basketball and running a basketball team, clearly the guy still has a lot to learn.
Yeah, I mean, the Beal contract obviously was terrible. I thought the Mavs said they were going to stay, by the way. And is that just lip service?
I think they did say they're going to stay.
Yeah.
I mean, Dallas is such a huge
It's a
market.
huge market, and I totally understand the thinking there, but I still feel it unlikely that they're the team that moves to Vegas.
No, so there was that thought process and I call this the basically the plot of Major League. Remember the sports movie Major League, where the woman husband died and she wants to move the team from Cleveland to Miami, right? And so she needed to make them really bad so that she could have a cover to move them from Cleveland to Miami, the old Major League plot. This I don't think is that. I think this is we need to gain influence in the state of Texas because Texas, along with California, are two states that don't have legalized sports betting in the way that you see in many other states. And between that and building casinos, I think they see a major cash cow.
Right. So, but again, I have trouble connecting. So if they want to gain influence and gather attention, like why trade your best player?
I think owning a sports team, whether your Luka Dončić is on it or not, grants you a lot of currency with local politicians. And those are the people you're trying to convince, not the public. It's the politicians.
But what impact does the trade have on that effort?
Why would you spend $350 million on one guy when you're really just here to build a casino and not actually build a championship basketball team? This is what I'm saying.
They're connected but not connected. The idea is like they don't want to be a good owner, but they just want to own so that they can influence Texas.
I know, I say, but again, like and we talked about this last segment, the difference between the floor and even with the luxury tax is not it's just crazy to me. Also, they probably, I don't think that they're going to be that far. I don't think you said the $140 million for the Pistons. Like they're going to pay Kyrie next year, right? So
there's also the argument, shorter term deal. It's not going to be the super max.
But I still think they're going to be spending $200 million on their payroll, probably. Like especially they're going to be spending a ton of money on payroll anyway. Like that's not enough for me to trade Luka, obviously.
Well, the other part I'll disagree with Joe is that I do think the league's going to expand to Las Vegas. I don't think they're going to move a team. I think it's going to be. I actually think LeBron's going to be involved. If you want to go down some conspiracy theories,
yeah, sure.
I think that they are going to expand to Vegas, and it's going to happen soon.
And that's the main counter to the Mavs is that the league will not pass up an expansion fee,
right?
Which
Major League Baseball just did, which was stupid of them.
Right. Baseball's not the example.
But here's the thing, though, about the team, whether getting rid of the Luka contract, like if you're trying to bring in a casino and you're like, well, let's cut $40 million off our payroll, you're bringing in like $1 billion with that casino. $40 million is less than 1% of that. Like that's a crazy misuse of like to save like a penny here when you're about to make 1,000 there that's nuts. Like you should put as much money as you can in this team because you'll make 50 times that. First,
they've got to get the approvals and things that should literally pass like legislature.
Right. They'd get more approval. If they're a championship level team, they definitely have a better chance of getting that approval, I think. I mean, so I'm thinking like that would have been a better route to me. I think they actually thought Anthony Davis was going to bring them a title. I think we're underrating what they thought of Anthony Davis, but That's just me.
Bogusch has headlines for us. What's up, Bogusch?
Guys, I think most of us know by now that Major League Baseball is using a challenge system for balls and strikes during most spring training games. It could be used in real games by next season. Umpire Mike Malinsky had some fun with a challenge during yesterday's Angels-Padres game.
Good breaking ball, just misses. Brett Sullivan going to challenge.
Ball call.
Brett has been expert at the ABS system. Ooh.
The call is surprisingly correct. 3.
That's great.
Oh, we told you. Mike Malinsky, one of our favorites.
Oh, man.
Little sarcasm, maybe a little self-glazed there from Malinsky.
Whoa.
Okay. Wait, hold on a second.
Putabounty.com.
Oh, Ray wasn't here last week.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ray, sorry. This is just something you can say now. According to JJ Redick and Ray Ferrara, you can just use that word and everyone's cool with it.
Sorry about the clip.
The self part lost me, but okay.
What is what is going on here?
Where do you want to begin?
Explain it to me like I'm 5.
Is Brett Sullivan a manager?
It doesn't matter.
Who's Brett Sullivan?
So I guess no one knows. The system is the pitcher, the batter, or the catcher after a pitch can call for a challenge of the home plate's umpire's decision.
And that's happening this season?
Perloff missed this. He was on vacation last week.
They're experimenting. They've been doing it in the minors. They're doing it in most spring training games now. The earliest, though, would be in the majors. Real games is next season.
Okay, so they're not doing it this year. They're experimenting within.
Yes, they're fine-tuning, making sure it's good, getting people used to it, but it can't be this coming season. It'll be next season.
But it's awesome. Have you seen people do it?
No.
It's like tennis. All you do, well, you tap your head like too many men on the field. And, right, that's too many men.
Who, the manager or the catcher?
The catcher, the pitcher, or the batter.
Oh, sorry.
Not the manager. Any of those 3 people, you have 2 challenges per game. Tap your head, and then it goes to like the Hawkeye. It's immediate, just like tennis, in and out on like baselines and sidelines. And you see it in 5 seconds.
Like an animation like tennis?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, let me ask another question. So the player, you're trusting the player like the manager has to. If you only get 2 challenges, don't you want the manager to control that? Because every player is going to want to use the challenge.
Yeah, this is what we talked about last week. I'm sorry you were on vacation.
Yeah,
but who gets the green light to even challenge?
Yeah.
Is it only your veterans? Is it
only after the 7th inning?
Right, you still only have 2.
Right.
This is all strategy.
Because in the NBA, you see guys screw up all the time late in the game, and they just do that motion, like replay it. Like, just replay it because you just threw the ball into the 3rd row. Like, you can't trust players to do that. It's
Now
gonna be
you can theoretically do it 8 times if you keep getting it right. So it's not just 2 challenges; it's 2 incorrect challenges. So there are a couple. There are a few more chances to get it right. But I would think that the strategy will be: you need to know the system, you need to know the situation, and don't do it in the 1st inning when you're the 2nd batter of the game and no one's on base.
Has that been decided for sure that the manager's not going to make the final call, or is that still being worked out too?
I mean, in this system, it's only in the minors. It's only been pitcher, catcher, batter, and it's got to be pretty quick. So you can't even look to the dugout for them to think about it. And
it's not like football where you can wait for the coaches in the box to get the replay.
And also, honestly, the batter has the better perspective than the manager. In the dugout, you can't tell what's a ball and a strike.
Right. Maybe you have someone call up from upstairs.
No, you can't. It has to be faster than that. It has to be immediate.
Well, it would have to. I mean, for the manager, you're right. The manager can't even see, so it's got to be. Well, I think you could do that real quick. Like you could just have a headphone.
No, I mean, you can't. You have to go the pitch hits the glove, ball, and you got to go challenge that.
So
there's
that's why
no time for anyone to pick up a phone and call the dugout and then yell out to Juan Soto to challenge it.
That's
just not allowed.
Now you're gonna find out who's a smart player and who's a dumb player really fast.
I think if your contract doesn't start with a 2 or a 3 in front of it in terms of millions, then I don't know if you get the green light to challenge.
I love in the NFL when a guy clearly traps a ball and is like, throw the flag, throw the flag. Every wide receiver is exactly like that. Like the ball bounced 4 feet in front of you. Throw that flag. That's going to be great. Sorry I missed this story. And once again, who's Brett Sullivan?
That doesn't matter.
He's an outfielder for the Phillies.
He's not.
Perloff's favorite player in 6 weeks. Just wait.
I was like, sometimes I don't know every manager. I'm like, Brett Sullivan is the manager of whatever team that was. And no, thank God I'm catching up on this story. Thank you, Bogusch.
That's my pleasure. You might have heard Luka Dončić played with the Lakers against the Mavs for the first time last night. 19 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists. Lakers won in L.A. 107-99. The Cavaliers cruised through Orlando 122-82 for an 8th straight win. Georgia wasted a 26-point first half lead. then beat third-ranked Florida 88-83. It's their first top 5 win in 21 seasons. And Alex Ovechkin, another goal last night, now 883 for his career. Did come in a Capitals loss, 3-1 at Calgary. Ovi now needs 12 to pass Wayne Gretzky for the most all-time. Old man, young lady, back to you.
Love when people call me young lady. It's great. Okay, thank you, Bogusch. Coming up, so much more to do, including a package deal in the NFL. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
Down in Music City, there's a man named Jay. He's tuned in to Maggie and Perloff every single day. Life's been a battle, he's been losing for years, but now his motto's clear: no more losing tears. He's been down, he's been low, but now he's ready for a brand new show. Jay's got questions, can't let it slide. Who's running the YouTube on the Infinity side? Jay in Nashville calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bummelotti's ghosting, no work in sight, but Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right. Make it right. Been a loser so long, my losing's all gone. Tapped out my bad luck, it's time to move on. From his couch in Nashville, he's solving the case. Infinity's mystery, he's all over the place. He's got theories, he's got plans. Is it Moose or Perloff behind the cams? And Bellotti, forget it, he's MIA. Jay's the one who's showing up today. Jay in Nashville calling out the crew. Who's behind the curtain? He demands the truth. Peter Bummelotti's ghosting, no work in sight, but Jay's got the Maggie and Perloff show to make it right. The sun's barely up, the crew's on the scene. Construction workers puffing on that green. Hammer in one hand, joint in the other. Safety first, yeah, tell it to their mother. And there's Andrew Perloff sniffing the breeze. Is that cedar or skunk or just some old trees? He's coughing and wheezing, waving his hand. How can I work when
Night vibes, hitting up the show. Maggie and Perloff dropping takes that glow. In the chat, Stunna Filmo runs the scene. Spitting fire so hot it makes the snow seem mean. Down in Louisiana, Uncle Sam's lit. Rare snow on the ground, but he don't give a shit. Snow in the south, man, what the fuck's this? While Belotti's ghosting work, he's always dismissed. Stunna Filmo dropping shit like whoa. Uncle Sam's buzz, snow on the floor. Daily says time to bust the plow now. While Belotti's at home, chillin' somehow. Filmo spittin' truth, he's the chat's big hitter. Drunkle Sam slipping whiskey in his glitter. Maggie's crushing staff, Perloff's got the flow. And Bellotti, he's like, work? Hell no. Daly's cracking jokes, where's that one plow? Louisiana snow, it's rare as Pete somehow. Stunna's calling out, Sam's laughing out loud. Belotti's excuses, bury them in a snowbound cloud. Stunna Filmo dropping shit like whoa. Drunkle Sam's buzz, snow on the floor. Daly says time to bust the plow now, while the Lottie's at home, chilling somehow. Phil No in the chat, Sam sloshing his drink. Daily.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We'll get to a potential pairing in the NFL. I didn't even know this was going to happen again. But first, I'm going to put a lot of faith into taking our next caller, because I told you guys that I've been obsessed with this live stream of a bald eagle, Pearl, that is sitting on 2 eggs, and the third egg hatched yesterday. So now the bald eagle's sitting on 2 eggs and a baby bird. And then she's feeding the baby bird because there's a dead fish that got into the nest. She must have hunted it. And she's feeding the bird. And it's like endlessly fascinating. And Big Easy is calling from New Orleans. And the topic just says live cam streams. Now, Big Easy, I'm putting my faith into you here that you're not going to take our show into an untoward place.
I actually would be more interested if you went that direction,
Good morning,
Big Easy.
guys.
How you doing?
This is how it is. That's Jackie and Shadow. Shadow's the one that's bringing the fish to Jackie so she can eat. And she's the one that sits with the eggs most of the time. Shadow does go in there and sits down on the eggs every once in a while. But that's how the fish are going to get how they get there. And they've been together since from the last, I guess, 2 series of eggs they had. Now, the kind of weird thing about it is that I'm glad this one hatched, because the 2 eggs they had prior to this, when they have a certain amount of time they have to hatch. If they don't hatch, the mother's got to eat the eggs.
Ooh.
That's what's weird about this.
Wait a minute. Big Easy, you're watching the same live stream I am of this bald eagle in New Jersey? Or are you watching a different live stream?
Oh, I didn't know they had another one. So I'm talking about the one in Big Bear.
Oh, no, I'm talking about one in New Jersey that's like pretty close to where I live.
I didn't hear the Jersey part of it, Maggie.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So you're telling me, though, that there's a partner for the eagle that's going and doing the hunting?
Absolutely. And whatever about one you're watching, there's a partner that goes and gets the food, and he brings it. That's his job.
Okay.
You know, he sits on the eggs while she eats. She goes and flies just a little bit, just to get the wings flapping a little bit, and then she
get
comes
some
back.
exercise.
Big Easy, can I ask a question? Because you sound like you know about these things.
I do.
This is it has nothing to do with eagles. It's about lions. So I've seen every version of the Lion King. How come the female lions hunt and take care of the kids? Like, what does the male lion actually do? I've always been fascinated.
One job.
What's that?
I can answer that question too.
I knew
they
you
have
could.
One job. It's his job to block off all the other incoming nomad lions, male lions that come into their territory. They have to protect their young. The mother, the queen, decides who she's going to have the babies, and at that point, his job is to protect that young and that pride. That is the only job he has.
Got it. So he's security, basically.
But in the eagles, the male is the hunter, though. So you're saying
technically, yes, you could say he's the hunter, but that's basically his job. And by the way, the eggs have to turn.
Yeah.
They have to turn them. They have to rotate them, because the egg, the bird inside the shell will stick to the side of the shell, and it won't hatch. So they have to rotate them every once in a while. I think.
Yeah, Big Easy. I can watch that on the live stream. It's like the bird's kind of like shaking back and forth, and it's to turn the eggs, Pearl. But there's a hatched bird under there too that she's feeding.
Feels like the male's job is usually pretty easy compared to I hate to say this, like the women animals. I think they're underpaid.
Tell me about it. Doing twice the work for half the pay. No, Big Easy, thank you so much for that. I'm going to check out the live stream from Big Bear, but what a wealth of knowledge that last caller, our pal Big Easy, was. But here's the thing. You really want to have to fight other lions to try to keep the pride safe? That doesn't sound like a picnic.
Well, yeah, but I was thinking the
You could
Eagles.
die.
But I was actually, the male Eagle's job is easy. Like, all he does is go get a couple fish. Like, the female has to sit there all the time. I don't you think it's unfair that the female lions have to do all the hunting and all the childcare? Like,
Maybe they're better at it. Maybe everyone would starve to death if the lionesses weren't out there bringing home the bacon, literally.
all the male has to do is strut around and be tall. Like, that seems like
he's
they
got
don't
to
do
fight
anything.
the other lions that come to take the pride.
I don't think they
Lionesses are
actually
gonna
have to fight them.
negotiate a new,
Do
CBA kind of situation.
Terrible union leadership for the lionesses.
I mean,
Again,
also, too, we have those
I coulda told you
pesky
that.
hyenas from the hinterlands, too. Listen, I'm pretty much an expert because, as I said, I've seen both versions of Lion King, the cartoon, the live version, the spin-off series.
You're basically a zoologist.
I know as much as Big Easy about all this, but yeah, it is interesting to me how the roles of the male and the female, especially with these eagles, like, where's your male eagle? You got to keep watching your stream.
Probably
There's
doing
got to be another eagle.
He's probably doing the tush push somewhere and bragging about it.
Yeah, there's got
like all eagles.
you expect me to
doing the
laugh
fish
off that
push,
one? That's a
actually.
dad joke.
I know, which I thought you would appreciate.
I did. Well, I did. Normally I expect better from you, actually, but
he's giggling. So
At some point, I've not
There's
seen a
got to be
male.
another bird. We got to get to the bottom of this.
Somehow there's 2 dead fish in this nest. I don't know how they got there.
It's got to be the father.
Sounds like a deadbeat to me.
Oh, wow.
855-212-4227. All right, coming up, we got more for you. An unlikely pairing, perhaps, in the NFL, and what one team had to say about their star who asked for a trade. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Here is Luka. Luka dribbling left. Luka down the middle. Got there. Lay it up and in.
Crazy, crazy night for Luka Dončić. A triple-double. Lakers beat the Mavericks in what was round one, Pearl, of the Luka Revenge Tour. And that one goes to L.A. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. But the Lakers aren't the only team who added to their roster at the trade deadline and now look like they have gotten new life and look like a real contender. It's also the Golden State Warriors. We're asking you today, who do you trust more to make a finals run? Would it be the Golden State Warriors now with Jimmy Butler, or Luka Dončić and the LA Lakers?
Yeah, I was looking at the NBA futures, and both those teams have moved up dramatically. They're still 5th and 6th, but it does seem like we were not talking about them as title contenders at all. In fact, I said something about the odds of J.J. Redick being an NBA championship winning coach this year seemed 0.0 to me. I was wrong. They're in the mix because the NBA is all about matchups in the West, and both teams if they get the right path, that's the thing. If they don't get the right path, they're dead. So right now, the Lakers are 6th and the Warriors are 7th in odds. But ironically, below the Knicks, which is bizarre. But it goes Celtics, Thunder, Cavs, Nuggets, Knicks, then Lakers and Warriors. So they're right there.
Yeah, and as far as seeds go, LA holding down the 4th seed right now in the West. The Lakers have the 8th seed. So the Warriors certainly have some more work to do. But if you're asking me who do I trust more, I'm going to go with Golden State. And I know Luka's an all-world player and LeBron speaks for himself. But I've already watched the core of Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, once upon a time Klay Thompson, but he's obviously on Dallas now. And now with Jimmy Butler. But I've seen the core for the Warriors. I've seen that work over and over again, where the cast of characters can change a little bit around those peripheral guys, Pearl, but they've been able to get it done. And I think Jimmy Butler adds a completely different element to the Warriors defensively. He and Draymond together, that is dynamite. So, I never really worried about the Warriors scoring because Steph Curry is so unreal even still. But now they don't have to even worry when Steph has to take a seat and take a break. That used to be when the Warriors would implode, but with Jimmy Butler now to work as, to continue, Like, there's none of these lapses, none of these lulls. No Steph Curry comes back in the game, and now it's a 10-point deficit, and he's got to shoot their way out of it. Like, I'm so impressed with the Warriors. And you're talking about you thought J.J. Redick was never going to be a great coach, and I was with you on that. I was so over Jimmy Butler. It was the drama in Miami. I just didn't care anymore. Everyone seemed at fault, but it's like the basketball part of this, and Jimmy Butler with a chip on his shoulder. We're seeing the fruits of that right now.
Yeah, I just wonder, like, I know this defense is working out, but, like, what happens if they get the Nuggets in the first round? Or what happens if they get the Thunder, who are gigantic? I hear you. I just wonder if now the height is a problem. Because who's going to, like, I know Kuminga's, whatever, it's just going to be hard to match up with some of these teams. It's a matchup-oriented league. The other thing, too, is I love, and our executive producer, EJ, talks like this. You know, there's only one team that can come out of the West. He's like, oh, the Lakers are awesome. The Warriors are awesome. The Thunder. Like, we got to pick one. That's the problem. Like, there's so many good contenders. We're talking about the Warriors and the Lakers here. Yeah, we could also talk about the Grizzlies. We could also talk about the Nuggets. We could also talk about the Thunder.
Okay.
This is going to be a brutal, brutal path. That's why I'm saying, like, yes, this Warriors thing is working now, but is it good enough to get past one of these great teams?
Well, that's why the question is, who do you trust?
Okay.
Because I don't think people trust the Grizzlies yet. I don't know if they trust Oklahoma City yet. You know, there's like a proof of concept that we haven't seen with some of these teams because they're young, as opposed to the Warriors, who've got banners hanging all over their arena because they've shown what they can do. And add Jimmy Butler to it, even at his age, it's been gangbusters. So I trust them more. Like, again, even J.J. Redick looks like he's a really good coach, and that's great for him. Never coached a playoff series yet. Steve Kerr may go down as one of the great coaches of all time. So I trust the Warriors more.
That's interesting. But if I put you to it right now, I'm like, I'll give you one team to come out of the West. Would you take the Warriors over the Thunder?
I think I'd take the Nuggets, actually. But for the purposes of this exercise, I'm taking the Warriors that I trust more than the Lakers.
But I understand your distinction of trust, but, like, give me the Thunder. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, of course I trust Steph Curry and LeBron because they've done a million, especially LeBron. I mean, geez. But I still want the Thunder. I think that those young teams are right there with them. And that's obviously not a hot take. They're heavy, heavy favorites in the West. This is going to be amazing to watch.
Okay, you are welcome to weigh in on that, 855-212-4227. We're asking you also on X, our poll question, who do you trust more to make a finals run? New look Lakers, new look Golden State Warriors. Let us know what you think. All right, it is Wednesday. Doing a little bit different time. Let's get to the great debate.
The Great Debate Series.
Okay. Perloff. The NFL Scouting Combine is here, which is fun, but you know what it means. It means we got a long time till we get NFL games again.
Hey, yeah, true.
Yeah, this is the very, very beginning of the offseason. So for today's great debate, because we're a tiny bit depressed because we're not going to get NFL games for so long, let's take a look back on the season that was. Today's great debate, what was the best moment from the 2024 NFL season, the one that just wrapped up?
Best moment, okay.
The best moment, not the best game, not the best this or that, the best moment from the season that we just watched.
All right, I'll get it started off here. It's got to be, since we're not talking about, like, obviously winning the Super Bowl and hoisting the Lombardi Trophy, that happens every year. What is unique about this year, the one play that stands out is clearly Saquon Barkley.
Hurts in the gun. He backpedals. He's looking, still looking. He fires it out in the flat to Barkley, who beats one man, spins past another, leaps over a third, and comes down at the 30.
What was that? I've never seen that move, and I've been watching football all my life.
It's unbelievable. He obviously hurdled a guy backwards. Is that how we describe it?
Yeah, the backwards hurdle.
The most incredible play I've seen a running back since I can't remember. It goes down in probably one of the top 5 plays in the sense, like Odell Beckham one-handed catch comes to mind. Maybe a Patrick Mahomes no-look pass. It's just an incredible singular play. To me, that was a moment of the year. And also, it works out narrative-wise because Saquon went on to lead the Eagles to the Super Bowl. So for me, That is a no-brainer as a moment of the year, and it will go down in NFL history.
All right, we're talking about the great debate today. What was the greatest moment from the 2024 NFL season? And I'll go next. And there's a lot of layers to this one. But the greatest moment of the season was Jaden Daniels' Hail Mary against the Chicago Bears.
They bring 3. Daniels backing up. He's just going to have to let one fly. Goes to the right side. Steps away from the defenders. Gives himself some time. Now steps up, fires. Heads towards the end zone. It is
My friend Bram Weinstein on Commanders Radio. That was amazing. So a couple things and why this is the best moment. First of all, Commanders had just gone down in this game because the Bears had scored with a pass interference penalty to put the ball at the 1-yard line. So then it was a kick return that got the ball to the 24, and Jaden Daniels in 3 plays got the Commanders into the end zone. And again, why this is so important is because this was Jaden Daniels versus Caleb Williams. And Jaden Daniels, this was one of the moments, Pearl, just one, but I think the most important, where people started to think, did we have this wrong? That Caleb Williams was the generational talent and Jaden Daniels was number 2. And now we've seen how great Jaden Daniels is.
Yeah.
This was an all-time moment of the year because Jaden Daniels was one of the biggest stories of the year. The Hail Mary. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there's Hail Marys every year, but you're right. The narrative point where it was like a fork in the road. And after this, the Bears fell apart and the Commanders took off.
No doubt. Okay, Manny, we're doing great debate today. What was the best moment of the 2024 football season that we just saw?
Let me take it back to December 1st. A team in the AFC East doing pretty well at home in the snow, taking on the San Francisco 49ers.
Takes the snap, quick hitter, thrown behind, but somehow caught, and now lateral to Allen, and reaching for the pylon. Are you kidding me? It's a touchdown. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable indeed, Chris Brown on Bills Radio Network. Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen underneath center, quick pass to Amari Cooper. Wasn't a great throw. Cooper immediately gets wrapped up, and he has the wits to see Josh Allen, who's just behind him, pitches it back to him, a little pitchy woo-hoo, and touchdown Bills.
This was, I think, the first moment where Josh Allen, I don't know if he took the lead in the odds, but this was the first moment was like Josh Allen's winning the MVP this year, and then he did hang on to win.
Yeah, then we all thought Lamar had it. So
yeah, because he got first team All-Pro. Yeah.
Manny already has Pete's job, right? Like full-time, like that's official? Why are you kissing up to Maggie?
Oh, you see, here we go. I have
a real man plays
I have history in the 716. I have history in the 716.
The 2024 season, not
matter.
The 1990 season.
I've been to whatever they're calling it nowadays down in Orchard Park, that old stadium. Have you been over there? That's why. Go Bills.
Thank you, Manny. Ray, you got one for us?
Go Bills,
Great
Maggie.
debate. The best moment of the season that we just watched in the NFL.
I do have one. It's the Week 18 matchup, the battles, Sunday night, NFC North showdown, 2-14-2 teams. Minnesota Vikings putting on a defensive masterclass.
3 receivers left. Goff back in the shotgun. Gibbs in the game to his right. Goff gets the snap. Handoff Gibbs. Running left. Cuts it up. Lowers his shoulder. Powering his way to the 1. Gets a shove. He's into the end zone. Touchdown Lions. 4th touchdown tonight for Jahmyr Gibbs.
The Vikings came out, locked down the Lions locked down the Vikings defense. Hell of a performance. 18 of 41 passing for Sam Darnold. Looks like a fraud. Money's in question now. Everything went out the window for Sam Darnold on that Sunday night matchup. And we thought the Vikings would be the favorites. Not the Vikings. I keep saying the Vikings. The Lions would be the favorite going to the Super Bowl. It didn't quite work out. But that Sunday night performance stood out to me because the defense locked down Justin Jefferson. Very impressive performance.
Oh, man. I felt so bad for Sam Darnold. All this great momentum was lost in that 2-week period. That game and the next game.
Yeah, little did we know what he was going to look like against the Rams. So that is the Lions winning 31-9 Week 18 over the Vikings. The great debate today, the best moment of the 2024 season. Bogusch, take us home.
I'm going light. I'm going fun. And like Manny, I'm going into the snow. Pre-game, though, with one of the greatest interviews ever. It's Jameis Winston on Prime.
I am so happy and grateful that the Lord has blessed me to play in some snow
to be in true football weather in Cleveland, Ohio, at Huntington Bank Field today to give him the glory. It's a beautiful day.
Sure feels like you're playing in the AFC North.
It is. It's magical. Thank you.
No, thank you.
The horses are
Jameis.
preparing for battle.
They won that game, right?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Amazing.
I thought that would have been Manny's pick because he drops in the name of the arena.
That would be a stadium, but that's neither here
Stadium,
nor
whatever.
there.
You know what I mean? That's
Love
a
it.
good one. I
Did you
mean,
guys-
Jameis is always stealing everyone's spotlight.
I watched a lot of videos of plays of the year, by the way. If you're going to funny, the funniest one, and I'll give it even funnier than that. Do you remember when the Colts did a trick play and the Broncos blew it up and the guy got a pick six? Do you remember that? Nick Bonito. The Colts did
a throwback, right?
Did a throwback, and the Broncos, Nick Bonito, who's super fast, ran and did it. Remember we were laughing so hard on Monday about this trick plays going awry, but nobody did the Jared Goff fumble.
The
fake
stumble
fumble.
bum.
Stumble bum. That
I
could have been
know.
good too.
The stumble bum was a good one. Well, Ray went with the Lions, but he went with their
Shutdown.
defensive performance against the Vikings in Week 18. The stumble bum was an all-time moment. Like you could see the fans realize, like, oh, this is on purpose. Like, oh no, he didn't just almost fall and fumble.
Yes.
This is actually a bit that he's doing out on the field.
I also thought of Jahmyr Gibbs, the video game run. Have you guys ever seen that one? Where it's a run he had where they put it to video game music and they put on the graphics. Jahmyr Gibbs, to me, was him and Saquon were the story of the year.
Although the Falcons also
Yeah.
have that great, I don't know what it is, like they have a camera from up above, and there's one early season Bijan
Yes.
touchdown,
Yeah.
and it's like, I don't
Great
understand
stuff.
how it happens.
That was amazing.
All right, well, let us know. Who do you think had the best moment of the 2024 NFL season, the one we just watched? 855-212-4227. Maybe we forgot a couple. Yeah, go ahead.
Super Bowl is not even in this because the game wasn't close. Like, no one's going Super Bowl unless you're an Eagles fan.
Yeah, you could have.
I'm a Giants fan. We're not picking anything
Yeah.
about the Eagles.
Well, that's fine. But I think that the other moment, if it was going to be most memorable moment of the season, we're doing best moment. If it was most memorable, I think you have to hand it to Matt Eberflus. The botched time management, didn't call a timeout because it was Thanksgiving. First game of the Thanksgiving slate. And the fact that the Bears had gotten themselves back into that game against the Lions, like they were going to win that game if Eberflus just calls a timeout and he let the clock expire. I think that was the most memorable moment of the season because so many people, I think, were watching that game because it was a holiday.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue my Saquon Barkley doing the reverse hurdle will be memorialized forever. Everyone's going to know that.
But it wasn't a primetime game, right? Wasn't
Right.
it just it was amongst the other games.
Right, but it'll be in Nike ads for the rest of the time.
probably.
That's like we'll know it 50 years from now. People know that play.
Probably.
People will forget Eberflus existed, except for that funny name. But no, you're right. That was and they fired him immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
That was a massive, massive situation.
This was the whole country. Well, it's kind of commonplace now, but back in November, it wasn't, where you're just like in favor of somebody getting fired on a holiday. It's like, it's a family holiday. Like that guy's and his family, you got to get their stuff and get out.
Was there any playoff moment? Were the playoffs that bad? They must have been. I had one play where Patrick Mahomes was falling to the ground and threw it in the end zone. That was awesome.
Yeah, we didn't have a game-ending
wasn't.
play in the postseason, right? Nobody won on the last play.
Well, the Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews drop. I mean, the Bills couldn't convert on a
right. They were negative.
There's no walk-off field goal, nothing like that.
No, I mean, you're right. You had the bad spot on the Josh Allen fourth down play, and you had Mark Andrews dropping the ball out of the historic
the last
moment.
play with the Rams versus the Eagles where Stafford misses that pass and you guys get out of there.
Yeah, somebody forgot to block Jalen Carter. Yeah, not a good decision. But actually, we think about it, the playoffs weren't that awesome, were they?
I mean, I think, listen, they were interesting because the Commanders went into Detroit and beat the Lions. So
That was good.
That was pretty good.
But you need a close Super Bowl. That was actually, I imagine, a little disappointing for neutral fans. Like that. Did
Yeah,
he
it
actually? Did the average fan even stay to the end of the Super Bowl?
By the way, news came out yesterday about the Super Bowl. Did you hear this?
No.
Got something for you on the other side, but you let us know who wins this great debate. Who had the best moment of the 2024 season? What was the best moment of the football season we just watched? 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. All right, Maggie, you promised some Super Bowl news.
Yeah.
I assume it's something about somebody over celebrating in Philadelphia or something like that? Or is it actually about the game?
No, actually about the game. So yesterday, the NFL scouting combine started in Indianapolis. So Brett Veach, the GM of the Kansas City Chiefs, the losing side of the Super Bowl, sat down with NFL Network and let us know something about Travis Kelce from that game.
We're never going to make excuses and talk about it, but I mean, he was battling with pretty big illness there for the Super Bowl, but
Travis Kelce, pretty big illness before the Super Bowl. At least explains why he played so poorly, Pearl. I was always waiting for something to come out like, oh, maybe the flu was running through the Kansas City Chiefs, like it ran through the Eagles, allegedly.
Yeah, the Eagles were faking that the entire time, by the way.
I think they must have been because everyone was playing with their hair on fire.
Well, Jalen Carter was, I told you this, like Jalen Carter was listed as possibly sick, and everyone said, oh, yeah, he was at the big team party on Friday night dancing. So he clearly was fine. Yeah, I think that's an excuse, but like, how sick was he? Like, can't you, aren't there things that athletes can do to get ready for the game? Just pump a bunch of drugs into you.
I think maybe he was. What do you do, like the vitamin B shots and...
Yeah, I'm surprised.
And putting what do they call that when they put
an IV?
An IV in your arm?
Also, too, like, we talked about this. I've actually thought about this a lot since Super Bowl. Did Travis Kelce really play that bad?
Yes.
Like,
he looked bad. He looked like he was sick. He looked like he had been up all night, like puking and whatever, and he had nothing left in it to give. He looked completely devoid of energy.
But he had 6 targets. He caught 4 of them, and 2 of them were ditched in the ground. One time he ran into Xavier Worthy when they were crossing. That got a lot of attention. But does that even matter? Like, they could not block the Eagles' defensive line, so Mahomes had no time to get it. Listen,
I don't think it's not the reason they lost. They got
but I don't even
smoked
think
in the game.
He had no chance. Like, even if Travis Kelce was 100% healthy and quote unquote was ready to go out of the game, what difference does it make? How were they going to get the ball to Kelce when they could not block anybody?
But probably he had no yards after the catch either.
Right.
I mean, Kelce
because of the pressure, because the Eagles were only rushing 4, they had tons of guys who were in the mid level where Kelce had no chance in that game, even if he was healthy. That's my point, because of the pass rush. Like, there was no offensive weapon who could do anything there.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone's saying that they would have won if he was healthy, but to me, one of the more striking things about the Chiefs was body language. They looked cooked early, and every time he just walked back to the sideline.
Sitting
he had
down.
no spunk, no energy, no nothing. So for him, if he was ravaged by like a flu or something, it would make sense as to why he looked the way he did, regardless of stats.
Remember 2 years ago when he almost bumped Andy Reid and Reid almost fell over on the sideline?
Yeah.
Like, he was so jacked up. You didn't get any of that.
Nothing.
Right. But, I mean, the game before, he had 2 catches for 18 yards, right? He didn't do anything.
He didn't do a lot against the Bills, but he had a really good game against Houston.
Right. So anyway, my point was, like, I don't even think he played that bad. I'm not saying that it's not an excuse. I'm like, it didn't really matter. I mean, and they could not block the Eagles. That was the narrative of this game. And I think Veach was saying that. Like, there's no excuse. Even if they were sick, that was just a basically barn release towards the quarterback.
I wonder if he was the only one, though. Basically, there's
that's a
more
good question.
here from Brett Veach. When it comes to Travis Kelce, he expects him to be back.
Travis communicated to us that, he had every intention on playing, and as far as the deadline, I mean, I just spoke with our local media. We're anticipating Travis playing and coming back and hopefully having a great season to potentially end an unbelievable career. If that changes, then it changes.
Okay, get ready for the Travis Kelce farewell tour. This will be the last hurrah. I'm a little surprised that this wasn't announced on the podcast. Big miss for New Heights. You can't let the GM take your thunder there.
But wait.
That'd be the most downloaded episode of all time. The won't he come back episode.
So wait, I kind of heard that as...
We assume he's coming back.
Yeah. I didn't hear, like, that's not like saying I'm definitely coming back. Like, maybe Travis is going to be... He could still hang it up, right?
He said he told us, didn't he?
Yeah, but he said after the season, didn't he say every intention? Was that you? It felt a little like there was at least an open door.
All right, play it again.
Yeah, play it again.
Travis communicated to us that, he had every intention on playing, and as far as the deadline, I mean, I just spoke with our local media.
Intention of play.
We're anticipating Travis playing and coming back and hopefully having a great season to potentially end a...
Yep, got it.
Don't you speak every intention? I have every intention of running a marathon this
You do
fall.
not. You have no intentions of running a marathon.
Every intention is definitely that's definitely not a finite. That's a door open. I speak GM. He has every intention. Does not mean like
roster
Travis
bonus is a
didn't.
thing, too.
He should have said Travis Kelce said he's definitely coming back. I did not hear that. You heard that he's definitely coming back.
I mean, maybe
But Bogusch, did you hear what I heard? Or?
I would say that there's still room for Travis to make a decision and announcement on the podcast. I don't think this is like, okay, this is now settled. We can stop wondering what Travis is going to do.
I think actually the GM was like in a position where he's like, well, I gotta say this. We don't really know what Travis is going to do, but I gotta say he's coming back because I can't say it's open.
Why? You could just say this is Travis's decision. He's still making it. There was a million ways to handle that, as opposed to being that's very positive, trending. If he really didn't know, when he say, listen, Travis is going to take his time and we're going to let him take his time.
Because he said right after the season, so we assume the Monday, he said Travis had every intention. And then Travis came out like a couple days later and said, I'm going to give it some time. After that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't hear it that way. Okay, Bogues.
I mean,
has headlines.
he's definitely coming back anyway. Like, why? I never thought he was going to retire. He had 118 yards like 2 games before. By the way, that fake Gronk coming back headline, I was totally shocked by that, except for one thing. Gronk's 35.
Yeah.
He's only 35 years old. He's been retired for he retired the first time like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think he's almost Hall of Fame eligible.
Yeah, he might be.
Not this one, but maybe the one after, like 2027.
Well, he and Brady could go in the same one.
No, I think he was done a year before. He didn't do the last year Brady did.
And he's only 35.
Yeah.
And
But his back fell apart.
Tell me once again, how old is Cam Newton?
13.
I think Cam Newton's 35.
Cam Newton, younger than Sam Darnold. I'm just kidding.
Luka Dončić missed 11 of 17 shots, good for just 19 points, but he added 15 rebounds, 12 assists in his first game against the Mavs. The Lakers winning in L.A. 107-99. Jason Kidd liked it when Luka did that for him.
You know, he fills up the stat sheet like no other player, so I think he had a triple-double. And again, he can find his teammates, and his teammates delivered tonight.
One of those teammates, LeBron, scored 16 of his 27 in the fourth to help L.A. hold off Dallas. The Suns had 5 20-point scores last night in Memphis, including a season-high 23 from Bol. But the Grizzlies won, 151-148 in overtime. Ja Morant, 28 points and 9 assists. The Cavalier win streak is 8 after a 122-82 rout in Orlando. The Celtics, 111-101 winners in Toronto. That's 6 in a row for Boston. The Bucks' 4-game win streak ending in Houston, 197. A 26-point first-half lead wasn't enough for Georgia. They needed a go-ahead 3 from Blue Kane with 47 seconds left to take down third-ranked Florida 88-83. Second-ranked Duke handled Miami 97-60. Con Knippel scored 20. And number 6 Alabama hit 22 threes in a 111-73 thumping of number 24 Mississippi State.
I'm sorry. Can we talk for a second about how many teams the SEC is going to get into this tournament?
13, probably.
Because that Georgia win now puts Georgia, went from like the next 4 out to the first 4 out or whatever, the first 15 out to the first 20 out. Anyway, if they have one more win, I think they're in. So Georgia has 17 wins or something, and that's a lot of SEC teams, dude.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're all good, but at some point, you can't sell me on that's better than putting in a second or a third team from a next level conference, a second level conference.
I mean, you're totally right. The numbers, we all know the numbers, right? Basically, in tournament play since January 1st, the whole conference only 500. Still one of the great jokes.
It was not a joke. Carl Ravitch.
It was Fraschilla did it too. Or
When?
somebody. It was
I think Fraschilla did. I think to make fun of Carl Ravitch because Carl didn't know what he was doing when he said that in the first place.
Oh no, there was a. I think I'll find this. I think Fran Fraschilla or somebody, some major analyst for ESPN was citing, not just Ravitch, like an NBA guy, was citing this as evidence that the SEC is overrated.
Yeah, because they've gone
Because it was
500 in conference play.
It was a joke from part of my take, right?
Yeah. So Auburn, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, Mizzou, A&M, Ole Miss, Kentucky, Mississippi State.
All ranked teams.
Yeah. And then, but also, I mean, who else is getting in here? Next is Vandy, Arkansas, Texas, and Georgia.
I think Texas and Arkansas are bubble teams, and Georgia is like bubble adjacent.
Super bubble, yeah. Bananas, SEC, man, basketball conference. Who knew?
Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell said yesterday J.J. McCarthy and his knee could be cleared for April workouts. GM Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah said McCarthy learned a lot while not playing this past season.
He's conversational in our language, in our offensive language, understanding the why, the intent behind things. You want to be able to go out there and play free and let his talent take over. And so all these steps, all the learning he's done in this past year is going to allow him to be able to do that. We're excited about the makeup of him. He's been everything we want him to be, and we're excited about his future.
The future, though, the direct future remains uncertain. The Vikes not tipping their hands yet on how they will handle Sam Darnold's free agency.
And there's only one thing to do here with Darnold. You got to franchise tag him and then trade him. If you really believe in McCarthy, but why you wouldn't franchise tag him and let him walk for what, just a comp pick when you could probably get a lot more for him considering this quarterback market, no?
Yeah, I saw Rap Sheet say that that's the way they're leaning, but I would keep him. Because I
or
think
you could franchise tag him and keep him.
Yeah, I mean, because you're going to go with Cousins, or well, you're not going Cousins, but you're going to go with Aaron Rodgers. You already know Sam Darnold knows the offense really well. I would just, if you're going with a bridge guy, why not just bridge him? I like it 1 year. It's not that much money.
That's an expensive franchise tag, though.
What is it, 42 or something?
40.
Yeah, that's nothing for it. That's I don't know how.
Daniel
why is
Jones
that
money.
How is it only 40 when there's 8 quarterbacks getting over 50?
Maybe the odds are different, but your salary cap went up again. I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't franchise tag him. You're like, oh, so Sam can go get a long-term deal somewhere. What do the Vikings care about that? Like, this is good business.
I thought the Vikings said out loud last week that they were not going to tag him. Or is that a different whisper? That the one that they wouldn't do is tag him? But, I mean, I guess you run the risk of what if you don't find a trade and then you're paying him $40 million to do what? Back up J.J. McCarthy or play over?
Well, he's a free agent. But
if you tag him and then you can't trade him, then he's yours.
Keep him, yeah.
Well, I guess you could rescind the tag.
Yeah, I was going to say you can always remove it. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think just having him there sounds like that way you take away the headache of, I think they want Sam Darnold to play next year, right? Like they don't want to go to J.J. McCarthy.
Oh, I think they do want to go to
kind of
McCarthy.
ruin the kid if you have Darnold hovering, though.
So,
but I think O'Connell wants the veteran. If you're a coach, you want the guy who you've seen him do it.
But think about like all the teams that are going to end up being quarterback needy here. Well, Tennessee and Cleveland get their pick. What about the Giants? What about the Raiders? What about the Jets? What about New Orleans? Do they have a guy for the future? Are the Dallas Cowboys thinking about life after Dak Prescott? I could go on and on and on.
You mean for Darnold?
Yeah, I'm just talking about anybody. Indianapolis, the Jets wouldn't be for Darnold, but Indianapolis, they just talked about how they want competition for Anthony Richardson,
Right. Well, I mean,
what's going on with Geno in Seattle? Is anyone paying attention to those rumors about Geno's agents suddenly are getting?
Oh, I thought they were in love with Geno there. I thought that was the narrative.
A report that now Geno's agents are getting aggressive. Now, I don't know who's putting out that report, but
I think if you bring in Sam Darnold, say you're the Colts, you got to commit to him, right? You got to redo your deal 3 years, $140 million. So that's a really giving up on Anthony Richardson. I tell you, Sam Darnold and the Vikings is the perfect match. We saw it work last year. They were 14-3. Then it didn't, but their O-line got hurt. And they couldn't protect them.
Well, but the O-line didn't get hurt for the last 2 games. Darrish was out for a long time, and he still was carving people up. Those last 2 games were
they couldn't protect him at
Sam
all.
Darnold.
He was getting mauled in those games.
I don't know. I think they probably secretly would love for somebody to give him a huge, ridiculous contract, and they could just go, oh, we can't afford that, and then it's not their fault that he's gone.
Also, JJ's a top 10 pick. You're going to say no, forget it, we are bad?
Right. They didn't take him by accident. They took him at 10.
They traded up.
Right. Because they wanted him.
Just look at Green Bay. They let Rodgers sit. They let Love sit, and it worked out, sort of.
Hockey last night, the Washington Capitals lost, but who cares because Alex Ovechkin did this.
Near side for Carlson. There's a shot. He scores, and it's Alex Ovechkin. On the left side, he crossed up Ladar on a shot from the office. That's what they came to see. It's goal 883.
Sean Walton, Capitals Radio, 883 career goals means Ovechkin needs just 12 now to pass Wayne Gretzky for the most all time. The Sabres beat the Ducks last night 3-2. Buffalo's hot. They've won 6 of 7 to remain last in the Eastern Conference. Maggie, back to you.
Thank you, Bogusch, sneaking that in there. Coming up, we've been talking about it. You can still vote on our poll. Who do you have more trust could make the NBA Finals? The Warriors post Jimmy Buckets trade or the Lakers now with LeBron and Luka Dončić, 855-212-4227. Also, we could have another reunion in the NFL. Sit tight.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
Shopping for a new team. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It's abundantly clear they've parted ways. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are over. But Pearl, here is Aaron Glenn, the new head coach of the New York Jets, who was at the podium yesterday and had to answer questions about some of Rodgers' former teammates on the Jets being unhappy that the team showed him the door.
Reaction of the players. But I will say this. Every decision that me and Busch make is to win, and to win now. So I understand it, but again, listen, this is not going to be the last decision I make, right? That's going to upset some people. And that's okay, right? But as men, we talk about it. We make sure we keep it in-house, that we're going to continue to do.
Right, so that was Quinnen Williams who sent out a tweet. Quinnen Williams, one of the highest paid Jets, sent out a tweet like, thumbs down or whatever when Rodgers and the Jets parted ways. But here's my question about what Aaron Glenn just said right there. You're planning to win right away?
Yeah.
You and who? How? Who's playing quarterback for this team? Like, you let your best option, your highest ceiling, for next season, you just let walk out the door.
Yeah. Right. I think it could be Tyrod Taylor, which would be so funny. But, hey, listen, if you're a Jets fan, you got to be somewhat psyched about all this. Like,
about what?
You got a tank coming your way fast and hard. Although they tend to win a couple random games, but I haven't heard any good play. You're right. I haven't heard. It seems like the only plan I've heard is Tyrod Taylor and maybe Kirk Cousins or something. But generally, it sure seems like the Jets are going to be awful next year.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I'm not 100% sure that, say you do execute the tank and you execute it perfectly and you get the number 1 overall pick. They did this back in the 90s with Peyton Manning. It wasn't a tank, but they ended up with the number 1 pick. And Peyton Manning said, no, thanks, I'm going to go back to school. That's how much I don't want to play for you. Or Bill Parcells technically wouldn't guarantee Peyton Manning, I guess, that he'd be the number 1 pick. So he went back to school. If you think Arch Manning is just going to mosey over to the Jets, well, I mean, we've got history that's not going to happen with the Manning family.
Different owner. I think that was
That's
98. True. Leon Hess. I think he sold in 2000 to Woody Johnson.
Yeah, and Woody Johnson has been better or worse?
I imagine the Mannings and the Johnsons are probably buddies. I would definitely say that they run in the same circles.
Yeah, the billionaire circles, but Peyton Manning gave the Jets the all-time worst advice they ever could have had, which is recommending Adam Gase as their head coach.
Yeah, but there's a relationship. Yeah, I also
not a fruitful one.
I think the Mannings would take Arch in New York again, even if it was the Jets. Yeah, I do. I really. Yeah, first of all, I do think the Mannings and Johnsons are probably friends. I think Peyton probably has ties to that New York. It was a totally different team back then. Remember they hired Rich Kotite in the 90s? They were as bad as they are now. There were some bad moments back then. So, but back to your Aaron Glenn. No, Aaron Glenn has no chance to win here. And I hope the team has patience with him. Unless they do that Jets thing where they eke together some defensive wins. But what's the point of that? Or do you think they put maybe try and get Shador or Cam, really trade their future to move up in the draft?
If those picks are even available, See, that's the thing. I know the Tennessee Titans said that they're taking phone calls, but, it sounds like you're going to have to really blow them away. And right. I would say that's not even smart for the Titans to do. You got the number 1 pick. It falls in your lap because everyone else around you was, couldn't execute the tank. The Patriots blew their tank. The Giants blew the tank. And all of a sudden, here you are with the number 1 overall pick. And by the way, you need a quarterback. So,
well, I got to tell you, though, if the Jets call me and say, I'll give you 2 first-round picks, and more, you might think, oh, well, the Jets could be awful because of the Jets. And, whoa, that is worth, it's going to be so much. So I do think you play that game, you're like, oh, man, maybe we fall to 7. We still get a super stud player. Because if you're going to draft Abdul Carter number 1, you might as well move down to 7.
Sure.
Get somebody else.
Or something, yeah.
So I think
7 might be too far.
I think
way too far. Abdul Carter will be gone by then.
No, but you could get a position player. I mean, you're going to get a great player at 7. Because if 2 quarterbacks go top 7, then you could really be in great position to get a quarterback next year, much stronger quarterback draft, and you'll have a better team around you. I can see that. I mean, listen, I think the Titans would say, "Ooh, the Jets. That could be a very, very good pick next year."
A mark. Just like, they're dumb.
Two first rounders. Like they haven't really made the play. When was the last time they made the playoffs?
2010.
Yeah, like that's a lot
2011,
different.
whatever.
Like if the Eagles or Chiefs call you and say, we'll give you a first rounder, you're like, no thanks, I don't need the 29 pick. But if the Jets call you, that could be a top 5 pick, two top 5 picks. You could build a dynasty around the Jets.
Okay, but here's the thing. So that's why it would make sense for the Titans to do it. If you're the Jets, do you actually want to send 2 first-round picks and then get, Shedeur Sanders?
Yeah,
and you blow them up like you have every other young quarterback who's come your way? And by the way, Dion's going to be part of this and is going to be lighting you up in the media?
Right. But we started out with the premise that the Jets don't know what they're doing. So, yes, if I'm the Jets, the current Jets, yeah. No, it would probably be a mistake. But I don't know. Give me a better option. Tell me what Aaron Glenn should do a quarterback. If he's like, I'm going to make these big man decisions. Okay, what's his decision?
Well, that's why I thought that getting rid of Rodgers was really short-sighted. And it was like, we got to get this stink out of the building. It's like, or coach, or be a coach and say, this is not how it's going to work right now. And I think that Aaron Rodgers is looking at, I don't know how many options he's going to have. He kept saying he wants to make it work. I don't know if the McAfee interview thing was a real deal breaker. If so, both sides look short-sighted on that one. But I didn't understand why they couldn't keep Rodgers, and you can still draft a quarterback, if you want to.
Well,
you already paid him the money. It's like he's already there, and do you really ask Jordan Love? Has he been a bad mentor? I don't think so. And Rodgers was pretty chapped that they actually drafted Jordan Love, and he still mentored the kid.
Well, maybe they didn't think the age matched up. Aaron Rodgers can turn 42 this season. Maybe they think, well, we're not ready to win now with Aaron Rodgers. The team is not around him. The O-line is not around him. And it's a new coaching staff. I get it. New coach, start over. They're not. Aaron Rodgers is making better. They're not going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. And also, is Aaron Rodgers going to learn this new offense?
Why not? He'll tell you how smart he is. I mean, we all know that he's football brilliant.
Yeah, I feel like Aaron Rodgers should go. I love the Rams fit. He should go to a team that's ready to win now. That's a much better fit for him. I'm
saying from the Jets' point of view, the plan B, unless something really reveals itself here, if you're telling me you really think Tyrod Taylor, listen, I love Tyrod Taylor, but he's not young. He's going to turn 37, I believe, in training camp, and he's a guy who's gotten hurt a lot, and he doesn't have it's just like that can't. He's not going to get you through a full season.
I totally understand. Nobody except for the Jets seemed to be interested in having Tyrod Taylor as the Jets starter.
Well, the funny part is just to say, let's win games. We're going to win right away. I wouldn't tell the fan base that, because now they're going to start getting really itchy and antsy for wins here, and I don't think they can deliver.
No one's getting antsy for wins with Tyrod Taylor. I think Jets fans are not dumb, and they know that this will be an off year if they don't pay up.
Considering what they got from Rodgers, if they go out there and look at a Kirk Cousins, is that really that bad of a situation for the Jets?
Here's the one thing. Kirk Cousins already spurned you one time and made a fool of you because he actually took less money to go to the Minnesota Vikings.
You know who I like? They spurned him, but if Derek Carr comes free from the Saints, you're risking a lot because he gets hurt all the time, but man, that'd be a nice little transition.
I told you I thought that the Jets should go trade for Geno.
That one I don't love as much.
That was a bad breakup the first time, though.
Different regime. Regime. I think they buried the hatchet. Geno has come back and played there again. He said everything was fine. I don't think it's like Sam Darnold. That still feels very fresh. Geno was back in 2012, 2013.
That's a good debate. I would take Carr over Geno. I think Carr's upside is higher.
You have to pay him more.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
For a bridge, why do I want to spend a lot of money?
I don't know. Because you might want to win now, to quote Aaron Glenn. For some reason, Geno, it just feels flat to me.
I think Geno's still got a little bit left here. And that's like a full circle moment if he can have end his career with the Jets. Maybe that's a happy story.
Derek Carr's numbers towards the end of last year were really, really good. Geno's had some good numbers, but
I know you
Carr's
always tell
really
me about
precise.
Carr's numbers being good, and this is the one thing I'm just going to say about Derek Carr, and I'm not saying that Geno fits this. Derek Carr is not a winner.
Now, he was 13-3 his second year in Vegas or Oakland at the time.
To be fair,
how long ago was that, Pearl?
Yeah,
Derek Carr is really good when nobody's looking.
Yeah, I mean, that's
right,
true.
when they're out of it. Right.
No, I mean, listen, Derek Carr's not been on good teams, and the problem is he can't stay healthy. Like last year, he was banged up all last year. He finally got healthy, and it was too late because the rest of the team was injured. Geno too. They're both good quarterbacks. The question is I think your question is what are the Jets' big plan here? Who knows?
Yeah, I just think to say we're going to start winning now, it's why would you ever promise that? Let's get to our poll question for today, and it's at Maggie and Pearl on X. We asked you, who do you trust more to make the NBA Finals? The new-look Golden State Warriors with Jimmy Butler or the new-look LA Lakers with Luka Dončić? Right now, Lakers winning out, Pearl, 58% to 42%, and you can go vote. And you also think that the Lakers, you trust them more to make the Finals. You're with the crowd here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm terrified that the Lakers are going to come out of the West because I had some really strong comments against them. I was like, Luka and LeBron are going to win a title. LeBron's 40. Luka doesn't play any defense. Oh man, I regret all that now. Just watching them play lately. They're definitely a dangerous team. Now the Warriors are dangerous too, but I feel like if I'm looking at the playoffs, Luka's won at such a high percentage of the postseason, and so is LeBron. I mean, actually, so have Jimmy and Steph. But I definitely am more scared of the Lakers. If I'm a contender, I don't want to see that team come in.
Yeah, I'm all about the Warriors right now. I don't want night-night and Steph Curry going night-night on my championship hopes, and I feel like he could do that to another team. Jimmy Butler's inspired. They play really good defense. I trust Curry and Kerr together as a good coach and player combo.
That's so funny. I mean, the West is so crazy good. The play-in tournament of the West is going to be brutal as well. And Golden State's probably going to be in that. And then they might get OKC in the second round. I feel like the Lakers have a path. I'm going to not love it, but I think the Lakers have a real chance here.
Thank you to Manny Rodriguez and Ray Jarvis. Thank you to Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, Weedo's Coffee Drinkers. You guys were awesome today and on the phones as well. We will be back tomorrow. The brand new show and a lot of fun. Maggie Perloff.